All right, good evening. I call to order the closed session meeting of the Mayor and City Council at 3:07 p.m. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for being here, even though no one is here today. So I will still ask, do we have any public comments?
We have no public comments for closed session.
Awesome, thank you. And Mr. City Attorney, is there any statements that need to be read out?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, thank you. Item C, conference with legal counsel, significant exposure litigation, one case. This, as in past meetings, is related to Mandeville. And also item D, conference with real property negotiators, is being pulled off of the agenda because the address was incorrect. That concludes my report.
Mayor Pro Tem, can I take roll?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Present.
Councilmember Figueroa will be late today. Councilmember Charette?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Canas?
Here.
Councilmember Flores?
Present.
Councilmember Ortiz?
Here.
And Mayor Tran will be late today.
All right, thank you for that, as I get adjusted in this new role. Okay, so I guess if there is no other, I'm sorry, oh, please go right ahead.
I will be recusing myself from item A4 as it's my lawsuit against the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Ortiz. All right, now we will go ahead and convene into our closed session at 3:08 p.m. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for being here. And thank you to those viewing remotely. I call to order this joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council and Mayor and City Council acting as a successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency of the City of San Bernardino, the San Bernardino City Housing Authority, and as the San Bernardino Joint Powers Finance Authority at 5:10 p.m. City Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Sanchez,
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra,
Present.
Councilmember Figueroa,
Here.
Councilmember Charette is not at the dais at the moment. Mayor Pro Tem Canas,
Present.
Councilmember Flores,
Present.
Councilmember Ortiz,
Here.
and Mayor Tran is currently not in attendance. Oh, sorry, Councilmember Charette's arrived.
Thank you very much. Before we conduct city business, as a friendly reminder, as the elected leaders of this city, we will endeavor to be respectful to each other, our public, and especially our staff. Our behavior this evening sets the tone for how our residents, business community, and others view our city. We must conduct city business with professionalism and respectful behavior to build trust, credibility, and move the city of San Bernardino forward. In that spirit, I also want to respectfully ask that we refrain from making statements related to political campaigns or engaging in personal or political attacks during the course of this meeting. This is a space dedicated to the work of the people, and we must remain focused on serving our community with integrity and unity. We ask that you please observe proper decorum and do not speak out of turn and make comments from your seat. If you wish to address the City Council, please be sure to submit a speaker slip. If you speak out of turn or disrupt the meeting, a warning will be given and/or you will be asked to leave the meeting pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.9 and Penal Code 403. We shall commit to these values and foster a positive and productive working environment that is conducive to achieving our goal effectively and efficiently. Now, if we could, we're joined by former council member Ricky Van Johnson. He is going to lead us in prayer. Thank you very much. If everyone could stand.
Good evening. In the book of Timothy, there's a scripture that talks about to be in prayer for our leaders so that we can live a peaceful life. Let us pray. Precious Father, first and foremost, we thank you and praise you and give you all the glory and honor this day, Father. Father, we thank you for those who are in leadership positions, Father, how they give of their time and their talent, Father, so that they can bless this community. Father, we pray for our citizens of this community, Father, that they will live a peaceful life. Father, and we pray for those who work in our city, Father, that once they conclude their day, especially those who are in public safety, that they can go home after a day's of work, dear Lord. Father, once again, we just pray that you just lead and guide us through this meeting, Father, and let everything be done to your glory. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. And if Councilmember Sanchez, you could lead us.
Oh, all right.
Oh, we do. I apologize. So we do have student Adiel Gretelhalva from Muscoy Elementary School who will lead us in the pledge. Thank you.
Please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, City Attorney, is there anything to report out from closed session?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, thank you. Give me just one moment. So on the closed session agenda, first, there were some items that were not discussed, and they were items A, Romanet 3, Daniel Diaz Gomez versus the city, and neither was discussed item D, conference with real property negotiators. And then I also want to share that related to item A, Romanet 4, Treasurer Ortiz versus the City of San Bernardino, the council, by a vote of 5-0, desired to issue a press release. A motion was given by Councilmember Charette, seconded by Councilmember Sanchez, and that was voted upon in affirmative yes votes by Council Members Ibarra, Sanchez, Flores, Charette, and Mayor Pro Tem Canas. Councilmember Figueroa was not present in closed session during that discussion, so he did not vote. I'm going to read that press release now. For immediate release, San Bernardino County District Attorney, case number 2026-00000627. Criminal charges filed against San Bernardino City Councilmember Treasurer Ortiz. The City of San Bernardino has learned that the San Bernardino County District Attorney has filed criminal charges against Councilmember Treasurer Ortiz for unlawfully recording San Bernardino police personnel in violation of California Penal Code Section 632A. The complaint alleges that Councilmember Treasurer Ortiz intentionally and without consent used an electronic amplifying and recording device to eavesdrop and record confidential communications with San Bernardino Police Department personnel. Councilmember Ortiz is scheduled to be arraigned on the criminal charges on February 19th, 2026. Previously, Councilmember Ortiz filed a federal lawsuit against the City of San Bernardino seeking over $2 million in damages for what she asserts was an illegal search of the CLETS system in March 2019. An independent investigator hired by the City of San Bernardino confirmed that no one conducted an illegal search of the CLET system, which is heavily regulated and audited annually by the State of California Attorney General's Office. Based on the independent investigation, Mayor Tran and the City Council characterized the Ortiz lawsuit as a complete misrepresentation of the facts and an unfair disparagement of city employees and officials in an attempt to obtain millions in taxpayer dollars from the city. The city is represented by attorney Stephen Larson in the lawsuit by Ortiz. Larson has stated, after receiving Councilmember Ortiz's claim, the city engaged a highly qualified, experienced, and independent firm to review and investigate the allegations and found them to be entirely unfounded. Larson further stated, the independent investigation found that any criminal background searches, as alleged in the claim, were conducted in strict accordance with the law, a fact confirmed by official audits. The city believes that Councilmember Ortiz's allegations of wrongdoing are factually and legally baseless and will be exposed as such in court. At this time, the city will offer no further comment on the criminal matter, which is the responsibility of the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office. That concludes the press release, and that concludes my report, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you very much. All right, we will move on to our public hearing. As this is my first turn at chairing a meeting, City Attorney, if there's anything that you do need to opine and interrupt me on, please feel free to do so. So we will move to the item number 1, introducing for the first reading ordinance number MC 1659, approving Development Code Amendment 25-11, Accessory Dwelling Unit 2025 Legislative Update.
All right. Good evening. Thank you, council and members of our public.
Mayor Pro Tem, sorry, George. Mayor Pro Tem, can I ask you to please state that you're opening the public hearing and state the time?
Okay. So I am opening the public hearing at 5:19 p.m. And if staff can now go ahead and present the item.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. Again, good evening, council and members of our public. The item before us today is item number 1, which is Development Code Amendment 25-11. This is the 2025 Accessory Dwelling Unit, or ADU, legislative update. Just some brief background for us. ADUs are not new things. They were first introduced back in late of 2016, early January 2017. And this commonly replaced what we thought at the time, if you guys recall, things like granny flats or mother-in-law suites or even second dwelling units. ADUs kind of came in and just replaced a lot of that outdated verbiage and said, here's your accessory dwelling unit. Since then, we've seen that the trend is to really bolster and promote additional housing in not only our city, but the state as a whole. So our current ADU ordinance was adopted back in May of 2021 under ordinance number 1559. This was to establish standards for regulations regarding ADUs into our zoning and development code. About a year and a half later, in December of 2022, the city adopted ordinance number 1604, which in short updated some of the pre-existing requirements, built upon that, and introducing some objective standards. A bit more recently, in January of 2025, the city adopted ordinance number 1645, which provided updated definitions, expanded the prohibition on parking, and increased the allowable number of detached ADUs on a multifamily lot. So those are some of the more notable changes that affected us on the day-to-day. And then more recently, in December of 2025, so just a few weeks ago, we did bring forward the urgency ordinance in front of you. This is urgency ordinance number MC 1658U. This gave us a grace period, which enabled staff to bring forward the standard or regular ordinance, which is what's in front of us tonight, which we'll talk about with some of the slides ahead of us. Now, one of the bills that was signed is Assembly Bill 1154. So for some context, when a junior accessory dwelling unit, or JADU, is developed, the existing state law requires that a property owner resides within the JADU or a remaining portion of the primary unit. So Assembly Bill 1154 came in and further narrowed that scope and said that owner occupancy is only required if the JADU shares the bathroom with the primary. So if the JADU has complete independent living, so that's defined by the state of them having their own restroom, kitchen facilities, and a bedroom, then owner occupancy is no longer required. Secondly, Assembly Bill 1154 prohibits JADUs from being used as short-term rentals. So this is anything less than 30 days. Now, our city's regulations already included that, but it made it a provision throughout the state. The other bill that was signed was Senate Bill 543. Similarly, this is pretty cut and dry. One of the requirements under this legislation is that the jurisdiction must update the California Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD, which is basically the state's planning department, within 60 days of adoption, showing them that we're in compliance. Further, it also introduced cleanup items. So currently, under the definition, ADUs are defined as livable space. They added verbiage of interior livable space, which tightened up what habitable space meant. So things like garages or attached garages or stairwells, that's not included as part of the calculation. We're just looking at the interior livable space. And then lastly, it tied that definition that we just mentioned above with some of the fees. So it states that ADUs that are 750 square feet of interior livable space be exempt from certain development impact fees, and units that are 500 square feet of interior livable space be exempt from school fees. So why is this item being brought forward tonight is because of the timing of this legislation. Both Assembly Bill 1154 and Senate Bill 543 were recently signed into law back on October 10th of 2025. We see that this is a common trend, that it's typically towards the end of the year, which is why we bring forward the items around this time. Now, although these updates don't change much, and in fact, they're pretty minor, there are provisions in both the bills that state that if we don't bring it forward, then a city or local jurisdiction's ADU would be found null and void, essentially. And now, obviously, that's something we want to stay on top of. We as a city have crafted our own ordinances and specific standards, so that's something we'd like to keep. Again, because of the timing of things, we did bring forward an urgency ordinance to the mayor and city council at the December 3 meeting. The vote was unanimous, and as a result, that urgency ordinance was effective immediately, and that gave us the grace period to bring back the standard or the regular ordinance, which is, again, what's in front of us tonight. It's identical. So that being said, staff's recommendation is to introduce first reading, read by title only, and waive the further reading of the ordinance and find that this project is statutorily exempt under Public Resources Code Section 21080.17. And as always, staff did properly notice this project in anticipation of tonight's meeting. We've received no comment, and staff acting as the applicant are here if you have any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, so we need to, we can close it out now? Can we close it?
Mayor Pro
Public
Tem.
comments, sorry, so we will go ahead and move to public comments. Do we
yes,
have any
public comments.
requests to speak?
We have no request to speak for this item.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so.
Can close the public hearing, and then if there's questions or discussion among the council, that would be appropriate.
Okay. So we will go ahead and close out this public hearing at 5:26 PM. All right, now, I'm sorry? Okay, all right, so we will go ahead and now open up for comments and questions from the council. Councilmember Sanchez?
It's state mandated, and if we don't codify this in our municipal code, it prevents us from the little regulation that we are allowed by the state. Move to approve.
Okay, and we have a request to speak from Councilmember Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So Councilman Sanchez is correct that we have to codify this. However, I think what we continually run into is the state updating legislation that affects local municipalities at a completely different rate. I mean, they do it with crimes, and why not do it with housing? And so what I feel like we're missing is this piece of how do we match? We need to be running parallel instead of always at a deficit, because with these ADUs, one, this is only for people who actually register their ADUs. We are watching all throughout our city that people are converting garages, they are building buildings behind their homes with zero spec, zero inspection, zero know-how other than, I've watched people do it with pallets. So one, we're not properly enforcing. Two, what about parking? From my understanding, and Director Elliott made a great point the other day in a conversation, is that you can completely eliminate your garage. Apartment complexes can completely eliminate their parking garage, like their parking overhead spaces, and turn all of that into living, which puts hundreds of people and cars misplaced throughout our neighborhoods. So what are we doing to be able to park in front of our own homes, to make sure that apartment complexes, and we see this right now over on East Street and 27th and Stoddard, where there's an apartment complex, and every night there are nothing but cars parked throughout an entire neighborhood. So what is our option for permitted parking, for regulatory on numbers of cars within a neighborhood, to make sure that we are properly inspecting, that when things are reported, we have the proper code enforcement there? So what about the city?
Councilmember Ortiz and Mayor Pro Tem. So this is an issue that we need to explore a little bit deeper. And what you have stated is actually reality. Now, there is a requirement for permits to be obtained to construct ADUs, and the city has gone a very, very extreme extent to make sure that people comply with the rules and regulations. But at the same time, we know that it's illegal construction. So that's why we have code enforcement, and that's why we have our building inspectors to actually go out and look at those kinds of situations. But there's going to come a time when all the parking spaces, for example, we're talking to a developer today who wants to utilize existing carports, which will be allowed under the current legislation, convert those into ADUs, and they don't have to provide additional parking spaces. So that's going to impact. And their response is, well, people don't like those things anymore because they get broken into. Well, that's neither here nor there. So you're absolutely right. State legislation sometimes impedes the city's ability to actually enforce its own rules and regulations, but we have to actually come together and figure out, where do we start and what exactly do we want? Do we want to start issuing parking permits? Are we going to start with multifamily residentially zoned neighborhoods? Are we going to start with single-family residential, traditional single-family residential neighborhoods, which are actually going away now, because when you start adding ADUs to them, it's no longer single-family. Our single-family residential neighborhoods are becoming multifamily zoning, multifamily neighborhoods, just by the addition of multiple ADUs on certain properties. So I think at a staff level, we have to sit down and figure out what our options are going to be.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because I think the most important thing you said is, like, we just need to start somewhere, and we've been watching legislation roll through, and it just hasn't been. So I don't know, and Mr. City Attorney, if I'm incorrect, but I know we have a motion. Can we amend the motion if Councilman Sanchez, or to add that we at some point bring back information on this, or is this something that Mr. City Manager, you can, because I think if we're going to agree to it and we're going to update our code, we need to, within so many days, to start coming back to amend and keep up our code and not let this go by the wayside, because we can't even do street sweeping because we don't have the type of enforcement to get cars off on a Tuesday, let alone, you know, everybody parking throughout the city. So if that's, I don't know how exactly that works.
Councilmember, thank you for the question. I think that this ordinance does have impacts on parking. If you want to do additional either regulation of parking, I don't think it will be in this ordinance. I think it'll be in a different part of your code. And then separate for that, you might have enough in your code already, but it might just be a question of enforcement. And so I think that it's really separate from the accessory dwelling unit issue. It's a much broader issue, parking wholesale. And so I think you'd have to come back to the council as a separate agenda item. Eric,
Thank
do
you.
you have anything to add?
If that's the council's will, then if that could be a priority, and I guess you talk to everybody and see, but yeah.
No, I would agree with the city attorney's perspective.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Ibarra?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Question again for Mr. Gabriel. So back in 2021, Mr. Gabriel was not working in our city. So he's been doing a lot of the catching up. And I wish there was a little bit more information, and I don't know if you can provide some numbers. I believe when we first passed this ADU was because the state needed more housing to be built. We didn't have the numbers in our city, so we approved it. But then I found out through my planning commissioner that I believe your department, before you came on board, of course, received over 2,000 applications for ADUs almost immediately. Out of those 2,000 that we know of from 2021, do we know how many of those have been completed throughout the city?
I did provide those numbers to the city manager at one time. Now, we actually are quite busy with ADUs in this city. Although it's not a simple process to go through. It's not inexpensive to build ADUs if you're doing them correctly. But we've had quite a few ADUs built in our city. It's probably one of the top permits that we issued outside of other large projects, yes.
Would you say about 25%, 50% of those have been built already and
I
completed?
would probably say more than 25%.
25%? Now, I know on my end, in my ward, I have received several different complaints, one being that they can tear down their garages. Again, the concern about the parking came into question. I know when staff first came before us for disapproval, I questioned the sewer also, the sewer lines, because you're bringing in more people into an area. You're not going to help if we multiply people moving into the city. I was assured by staff back then that we have the resources, that if that were the case, that they would go in and be able to fix that. But I have the concern, another constituent of mine, he had 2 ADUs being built on both sides of his home, not providing him with quality of life. And I know I have been trying to talk to our city manager to find out what else we can do. With these new laws that are coming into play, and for the public's knowledge, is this going to also be applied to those that have already built the ADUs or are in the process of, or just the new ones that are being built?
It would be the new ones that are being built. And if I can just, the issue with the capacity for sewer and so on and so forth, that is factored in. So part of the permitting process is when you build a second dwelling unit or accessory dwelling unit, the agency in charge of that would look at sewer capacity. And in other jurisdictions, that has come at a very high cost. And it has, resulted in criticism of the process because it's so exorbitantly expensive that it's not even feasible. We're lucky that we're not in rural areas where they have to do septic tanks because most single-family homes in rural areas, when you build your single-family home, the septic tank capacity is equivalent to the size of the structure you have on your property. So when you add an ADU, you either A, have to expand your existing septic tank or build a second one. So there are challenges to this legislation, but overall, we have seen an increasing number of permits from people who can actually afford them, and it's big business in our city right now.
And if I may, too, part of the review process, to answer your question, is Building and Safety is going to look at that for the capacity, and that I think Director Elliott was mentioning about how it's reviewed by another agency. That's the Santa Ana Regional Water Quality Board. So they're very strict with making sure that the capacity is met. And from the ADUs that we've been receiving, they've gone through that process, or they're in process rather. So they understand that those are the requirements. It's costly to do that, but they're looking at this as, it is an investment for them at their house. So they are willing to go through the review process with Building and Safety and the Regional Water Quality Board.
So did I hear that correctly? You're saying that these are being reviewed by the Santa Ana Regional Water Board?
They govern septic systems, and they're pretty strict with requiring folks to basically connect. And what he was mentioning too was we're lucky we're not in a rural area, because expanding a septic could be even more costly for some people.
Okay. And then the other concern I have, and it's been voiced to me, is that a lot of these ADUs, they're going for the full size.
Yes.
You're not just having one full house, you're having two full houses, two different
Absolutely.
families. And some of our renters in our city, they're being rented out already.
Yeah.
Once they build that second ADU, the property owner, in a lot of these cases, those 2,000-plus applications we first got, were a private investor from LA County that came in and applied. That is a concern. For them, market value to rent a 3-bedroom we're talking about $3,000 nowadays. And when they have that unit, they're applying that same rent to the people that were originally there, which I think is causing a disservice to our community members by approving so many ADUs. And my concern, as Councilmember Ortiz mentioned, some of these are being built with no proper permits in place. City staff is not aware they're being built unless somebody reports it. That's always been the case in our city. The enforcement issue, it's not being properly enforced. And I think I did mention this to our, city manager, if we need to hire more code enforcement for those rental units, because that's what they're eventually becoming. They're rental units, they're not owner occupied. We need to also make sure that if they're renting a unit, they're making money off of people in our city that probably can't afford them, and having their children, adult children living with them. And I came from Santa Ana. I saw how bad it was to park out in Santa Ana, because a lot of the homes in Orange County are way overpriced. I don't want that to happen in San Bernardino. I was lucky that I was able to buy a home, but that isn't the case for a lot of our residents.
Absolutely.
So my concern, and it's unfortunate that we can't stop these projects. From my understanding, once they get approved, they're approved and they move forward.
Yeah, they are
We
ministerial.
can't stop them no matter how
Yeah.
many complaints
Yeah.
we get from the residents that
Yeah.
live in the near vicinities.
They are ministerial, not discretionary, so we can't go before a board, and, so state law says it's submitted, it goes through just ministerially, and that's what the current legislation is. Now, this is not to say that maybe sometime down the road, the state would actually realize that that maybe there needs to be a change in the process, because you have a saturation issue. It's still not
It's gonna
addressing.
happen.
Yeah, it's still not addressing the issue of, the lack of housing. And people will talk, there's a lack of housing. Well, we're building a lot of ADUs, and those ADUs are being moved into by people who need housing. So at which point are we going to reach that saturation point? Why they're going to say, okay, let's halt on the ADU, let's do an additional analysis, and then let's start going forward with something that's more discretionary rather than ministerial.
Yeah, and with us removing garages and taking all that extra space that these properties had at one point,
Yes.
we are looking for saturation. People are going to be parking in their front lawns. They already are. I've seen several throughout the whole city parking in their front lawns, and I know that's against our municipal code, and it's not being properly enforced. So we need to be careful of how many of these we're approving at a time, and make sure that we are inspecting them from beginning to end, that they're being done properly, and that they're registering as businesses if they're private owners or developers doing this. But I know on my end, I was like, can we make them smaller? Because I used to live in an ADU. I was comfortable in there. It was smaller than the main house. There was parking available on the street and parking available inside the property. We never had issues of parking in the front lawns.
Yeah.
I do not want to see our city go through what Santa Ana went through, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I voiced to staff back in 2021. And I hope that now that we have more staff, that we can follow through with enforcing a lot of these issues that our community is going to be facing.
Yeah, so state legislation sets a maximum for a standalone ADU at 1,200 square feet. And for junior ADUs that are within an existing structure, it's 500 square feet. When the city adopted its regulations back then, we went for 1,000 square feet. So we didn't really hit the maximum. So what you're proposing here is that we reduce that number to less than 1,000 square feet. And there's no regulations that says we can't, but I know that we cannot exceed the 1,200 square foot prescribed by the state.
That would be good if we could lower the square footage for that ADUs, because like I said, I've already witnessed some that are full houses. We're not talking of a granny home where you can put your mother-in-law or your mom to live in, or your elder parents to live with you. You're talking about full families living.
Absolutely,
like a 2-3-bedroom houses behind 2-3-bedroom houses. So that's.
I mean,
that's
I'd
what I'm
like to
concerned.
chime in and clarify. So what the ordinance says, and it has stated, it didn't change this part, is that the maximum size of a detached or attached ADU is 850 square feet of interior livable space for a studio or one-bedroom unit, and 1,000 square feet of interior livable space for a unit with 2 or more bedrooms. State law does not allow the city to go lower than that. So the little bit of discretion that you had, you already exercised it. We can't bring those numbers any lower than they already are.
Okay, if we can, that'd be great. Like I said, they're building big houses behind houses at this point right now. Those private developers, property owners from LA County are coming here. They're buying off homeowners, and they're upping the rent prices and building these big homes behind the other homes. We are not addressing the housing crisis of the state of California by allowing this to happen on our end, because as I said, they are renting them at a huge market value that the majority of the people who live in this city cannot afford. And that is where I'm concerned. I was concerned about this back in 2021. I understand the need of housing. I understand we need affordable housing. This is not providing affordable housing, unfortunately, to our residents. And I want to put that on the record again. I did it in 2021, I'll do it again, 26. Thank you.
All right, do we have any other? Councilmember Charette?
I agree completely with all that's been said up, so I'm not going to repeat any of it. I think the idea of an ADU sounded great a few years back, and I don't think it was thought through clearly and didn't know what the impact was going to be on existing neighborhoods. And I do not support them. There are some great ones that are planned and are in an area that there is plenty of room and there's plenty of parking and what have you. My question is, if this body was to vote no on this tonight, this is something that the state is really shoving down our throat, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, which they do all the time. Unfunded mandates and just shove it down. And these numbers, these ADUs count in the RENA numbers, right, for the state. And the state is dying to get housing built. And yet they're largely the reason a lot of housing isn't done, because of all the hoops and problems that you have to go through in order to do a development. Environmental and all the other number of things. So I'm about fed up with the state telling the cities what we have to do without any real it's the old golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules, and that's what the state of California is doing to all of us in the state of California. I'm going to vote no against this, and I really don't care what the state says, because I don't agree with these. I've seen some really nice ones that have been developed. I think I said that already. If they're done appropriately, I think they can obviously be very good, but I think they're lucrative for the owner. you take out a reverse mortgage on your house, you build it, and then you pay off that reverse mortgage right now, and then you've got this residual rent coming in at a pretty high rate. So they're very lucrative for somebody that's got room to do it. I couldn't do it on my lot. I wouldn't want to do it, but my lot does not allow. But this is being forced on the cities because of lack of good thought and planning at the state level, or some of their regulations, I should say. So I will be voting no. I agree with everything that's been said by my colleagues, including Mr. Sanchez, who said we have to vote yes on it because it's going to take effect anyway. But I'm not going to vote yes. I'm going to be voting no.
All right, thank you. Any other?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, just a little thank you, Councilmember Charette. Now, if the city decides to vote no, the consequences are that our existing ADU regulations will be invalidated. Now, I don't know exactly what that means because I've talked to other cities that do not have, that their ADU regulations have been invalidated. I don't know exactly what that means to the state. So those are the consequences, or that is the consequence of saying no to the state. They will invalidate our ADU ordinance, and whether that means it's open season or not, I'm going to have to defer to our attorneys to tell us what are the consequences of invalidating our current ADU regulations.
Well, of course, you make a very good point, and I don't think that's going to change my mind, but I'd like to hear either from the city or legal on that issue.
Sure, I can answer that. Before the end of the year, you passed an urgency ordinance. This is an identical ordinance to that urgency ordinance. If this regular ordinance is not approved, that urgency ordinance is still legally binding. And so without having done the urgency ordinance, if you just voted this down, then what would happen is your existing, meaning from prior years, what's currently on the books, urgency ADU ordinance would be invalidated, and your city planners would become state planners because they would be interpreting and enforcing state ADU law. But good news is, because you did your urgency ordinance, even if you voted this regular one down, the urgency ordinance still stands.
Albert, isn't
Thank you for that, but I can't, I wish I could say that I did that intentionally. I probably voted for the urgency ordinance, and I wish I hadn't.
I recall you did.
And so I wish I was that smart, that I did that knowing that I could vote this one down, but I didn't, unfortunately. But I am still going to vote no.
A question for the attorney. Albert, isn't the urgency ordinance good for 45 days and we have to renew it to keep it going? Because I don't think an urgency ordinance just lasts forever.
An urgency ordinance, if not challenged, does last forever. There's different kinds of time-sensitive ordinances. What you're referring to, Gabriel, is what's called an interim zoning ordinance, where you pass an ordinance to study an issue for 45 days, and then you can extend that for a longer period of time, year or maximum of 2 beyond that, to study the issue and come up with some regulations. What the council did before the end of the year was not that. They adopted an urgency ordinance based on standards for the immediate protection of the public's health, safety, and welfare, and that stands. It does not have an expiration date.
All right, and Councilmember Sanchez?
Well, the city of San Bernardino is lucky to have outstanding lawyers like yourself. So I'd like to call for the question.
I do believe we have a motion and a second. Are we-
I want to confirm the second. That's from Councilmember Ortiz.
Councilmember
Okay.
Ortiz, correct.
I
I'll
do
open
have-
electronic voting.
I have one more.
Councilmember Barr, one more. Correct.
Can we, will my colleagues be amenable that we also add in there give direction to staff to bring back a refreshed, a new size ordinance of these ADUs? Because right now, we went to 1,000 square feet, or what was this, 1,200?
Councilmember Ibarra, as I mentioned before, unfortunately, those sizes of the ADUs cannot be reduced any smaller than they already are. State law gave the city just a little bit of discretion in terms of the size.
Right.
And the council already made them as small as legally possible.
I thought, no, when staff came before us, they went above the minimum that the state was requiring.
I don't believe that
I
that is
think
accurate.
it was at 800 back then, and they asked for over 1,000 square feet to be approved back then.
As
Is
I
that
previously,
what the
there's a
state
difference
says?
between a studio or one bedroom. You can build a maximum of 850. For a two-bedroom or more, you can build 1,000 square feet, but then there's an exception to that because you can build no more than 50% of the primary dwelling. So imagine you have a primary dwelling that is only 1,000 square feet, the primary dwelling. In that instance, when that property owner wants to build a detached ADU in the back, they cannot build greater than 500 square feet for that detached ADU.
So is that being enforced currently? Because like I said earlier, there are homes that are having ADUs built that are full-size, same size as the house in the front. They're not smaller, they're the same size or bigger. That's what I'm trying to see. We have the proper enforcement to make sure that these ADUs that are being built are not bigger than the primary dwelling. Because right now, they haven't been. The ones that I've witnessed are not smaller than the main dwelling unit.
Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Ibarra, we can look at that and make sure where we're at and then follow up with a memo. And then if we can bring something back, we will. If not, we'll explain that in the memo to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we do have a motion as well as a second from Councilmember Ortiz. Are we using the voting screens?
Yes, the digital
All right.
voting should be open.
All right, thank you.
Madam City Clerk, it's not popping up on my screen.
Okay. I can take your voice vote.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1 with Councilmember Charette voting in opposition.
All right, thank you. I would now ask for a motion to waive further reading and introduce by title only ordinance number MC-1659. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. Madam City Clerk, please read the title of the ordinance into the record.
Ordinance number MC 1659, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of San Bernardino, California, approving Development Code Amendment 25-11, amending Chapter 19.04 residential zones, Section 19.04.0302P, accessory dwelling units of the City of San Bernardino Development Code, SBMC Title 19, in order to update the development standards for accessory dwelling units and junior accessory dwelling units in compliance with recent changes in state law, and finding that Development Code Amendment 25-11 is statutorily exempt under California Environmental Quality Act.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we will now proceed to our city manager's updates. City manager, please go ahead and proceed with your city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Canas. Mayor Pro Tem Canas and city council members, I will start with the presentation. Downtown San Bernardino was buzzing on Monday afternoon with bands, dance squads, and students from many San Bernardino City Unified Schools, alongside classic cars and local dignitaries to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day with a parade on 4th Street and a community extravaganza. Thank you to hundreds of volunteers who will be fanning across the city early tomorrow morning as part of the 2026 Homeless Point in Time Count. The federally mandated point in time count identifies the number of unhoused individuals across the nation. The results of the count are used in determining funding for programs and services in our region. The 2025 stats are in for the Animal Services Department. Here are some key statistics that we have. The department took in 10,773 animals this past year. Between adoptions, rescues, and reuniting with owners, the save rate for adult dogs was 83% and was 81% for juvenile dogs. Using our mobile veterinary clinic we received from Yamava, the department was able to perform 2,066 spay and neuter procedures, 1,433 dogs, and 633 cats. 93 shelter volunteers logged a total of 6,984 hours of service. The project to install additional kennels at the shelter is expected to be completed in late February and early March. Last week, the House and Senate approved an appropriations bill that includes $1,031,000 for the San Bernardino Police Department to fund its mobile crime prevention program. The President is expected to sign the bill this week. The funds were one of two community project funding appropriations submitted last year by Congressman Aguilar on behalf of the city. Improvements are coming to Route 66 in San Bernardino. Caltrans has announced that a portion of the Route 66 5th Street Foothill Boulevard from Pepper Avenue to the 215 freeway will be part of an improvement project starting this April. The project will include new pavement, upgrading ADA sidewalks, adding new sidewalks, upgrading bridge, rails, and widening 3 bridges. Finally, the latest version of the San Bernardino Living Life, the Parks and Recreation and Community Services Activity and Resource Guide, is now available. The guide includes a full list of programs, classes, recreation, and special events taking place through April for kids, seniors, and families. This issue is only available online. It can be accessed through the city website. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, City Manager. Now we will go and be moving on to our public comments. Public comments will be heard for items on the open session and items not on the agenda. To address the City Council, everyone must complete a speaker card and provide it to the City Clerk. Only those speaker cards turned in to the City Clerk will be allowed to address the City Council. Each person should state their name for the record before beginning their comments. As your name is called, please line up behind the podium. We do have 2 podiums available for your convenience. Please proceed to either one as soon as your name is called. Please note your name will only be called once. If you do not respond when called, you may forfeit your opportunity to speak. If you do require Spanish interpretation, we have an interpreter on site. Please raise your hand at this time to indicate you will need interpreting assistance. In addition, we have interpreting listening devices available in the back. We ask that you please observe proper decorum and do not speak out of turn or make comments from your seat. If you wish to address the City Council, please make sure to submit a speaker slip. If you speak out of turn or disrupt the meeting, a warning will be given and/or you will be asked to leave the meeting pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.9 and Penal Code 403.
En este momento se escucharán los comentarios públicos para artículos de la agenda y artículos que no están en la agenda. Para dirigirse al Consejo Municipal, cada individuo debe completar una tarjeta de orador. Se debe completar la tarjeta de orador y entregarla a la Secretaría Municipal en este momento. Solo aquellas tarjetas de orador entregadas a la Secretaría Municipal podrán dirigirse al Consejo Municipal. No se aceptarán tarjetas tardías. Cada persona debe indicar su nombre para el registro antes de comenzar sus comentarios. Al ser llamado, por favor, forme una fila en el orden anunciado. Disponemos de 2 podios para su comodidad. Diríjase a cualquiera de ellos tan pronto como se le llame a su nombre. Si necesita interpretación en español, tenemos un intérprete presente. Por favor, levante la mano en este momento para indicar que requiere servicios. También tenemos aparatos disponibles para escuchar la Junta en español. Le pedimos que por favor observe el debido decoro y no hable fuera de turno ni realice comentarios desde su asiento. Si desea dirigirse a la alcaldesa y al Consejo Municipal, asegúrese de presentar una hoja de orador. Si habla fuera de turno o interrumpe la reunión, podrá recibir una advertencia y o se le pedirá que abandone la sesión conforme a la sección 54957.9 del Código Gubernamental y la sección 403 del Código Penal.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, how many public speakers do we have tonight?
We have 25 speakers.
25. All right. If you could please go ahead and call out the first set of names.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, just want to clarify for the public how much time everyone has to give public. Do they each have 3 minutes? It's your call.
We will go ahead and proceed with the 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Kaylin Peoples, Ricky Van Johnson, Les, Mike Hartley, Jim Smith, Sam Catalano, Dr. Rob Carlson, Al Palazzo, Eric Marquez, Scott Olson, Keith Benitez, Melina Enriquez, Ulysses Benitez, Ali Dazzle.
Mike Hartley. There's two reasons why I hate coming down here. One is I have to get dressed up, and two, I'm always leaving pissed off. ADUs is going to be the death of San Bernardino. I'm telling you right now, I am refraining from using a lot of four-letter words. You have no clue what you guys are doing. How in the Sam hell can you give all these 2,000 ADU permits and you haven't even increased code enforcement? Do you have your head up your asses? What the hell's wrong with you people? I'm sick of it. Give me a reason to live in San Bernardino. I have been here since 1958, and I'm telling you right now, you guys have done nothing to keep me here. And now I should put 2 ADUs on my primary property and 1 on my rental. And screw you people. You people have your head up your ass. And by the way, as far as the state telling the federal government to go pound sand regarding immigration, the city should be able to tell the state to go pound sand.
All right, our next public speaker, please.
Al Palazzo, council members, city manager. Many decades ago, the Disney Corporation wanted to build Westcott in Anaheim. I said it would never be built. I was right. I went to Congressman George Brown and the mayor of Ontario to persuade them to organize a delegation to bring it to Ontario. 200 acres near the airport and hotels. I failed to get local officials to see that I was a visionary, that they did not support me. I wrote to Michael Eisner anyway, the CEO of Disney. Before Steven Spielberg built his studio in Hollywood, I suggested San Bernardino County. Again, I was a visionary. I wrote to him explaining transportation, infrastructure, Ontario Airport, 2 Metrolinks, rails, the 10, 15, 60, 215, and future 210 freeways. I said housing would be more affordable for his staff. I pointed out local universities, many cultural and performing arts sites. Steven Spielberg decided to build his studio in Hollywood. However, he was very kind to have my children have a picture taken with him. But this was a similar situation. On Monday, I wasn't feeling well, so I didn't come to the events downtown. But to honor the civil rights movement and those who marched for social justice, I watched documentaries all day on TV and cried. I lived during that time. I have experienced discrimination. And I was profoundly influenced by Dr. King. Sheila Duncan was a right-of-way agent for the county. She was my mentor. She was assigned to find sites for the jail facility in the West End and the new county hospital out there in Colton. I had a conversation with her. I made 2 suggestions. It turned out those were the recommendations she made to the Board of Supervisors, and those were the sites accepted. As regard to this ADU issue, you're looking at it in the wrong way. There's much more here. There's pros and cons, and I respect the gentleman that spoke. However, you have a lot of misconceptions, and 3 minutes is not enough time to address this. If I had the time, I would lay it all out to you and
All
you
right,
would know
thank you.
more detail the pros and cons.
Thank you.
And it's not for all of San Bernardino, but for some of San Bernardino, it could bring back this inner city.
All right, thank you, Mr. Palazzo, for your comment. Next public speaker.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Common Council, Ricky Van Johnson. One of the highlights of my time serving as Ward 6 City Councilman was establishing a community center in Ann Sherrills Park, which became Acoma Unity Center. Acoma's goal is to reimagine educational equity and youth opportunity on San Bernardino's tropical west side with a particular focus on scholars attending schools in the San Bernardino City Unified School District. At Acoma, our Drug and Alcohol Awareness Prevention Program, a culturally responsive prevention initiative, is designed to promote scholars' mental health, leadership, and advocacy through education, the arts, and certification-based training. 51 of our young scholars have been certified to give peer-to-peer counseling to recognize and respond to signs of mental health and substance use challenges among their peers. We have Ann Sherrills Community Garden, where Master Gardener gives hands-on learning about nature, sustainability, and growing fresh produce for local families while fostering environmental awareness. With 16 harvests a year, Acoma provides fresh, sustainable produce to local families and partners. We have the Drip Squad, a water education program in partnership with the University of California, Riverside, San Bernardino Municipal Water Department, and People's Collective for Environmental Justice. The Drip Squad teaches scholars the importance of water conservation and its impact on the community and the environment. We have the San Gorgonio Girl Scout Troop 1419, where we empower girls through leadership skills, teamwork, and community service, all while supporting a great cause with cookies. We have the Acoma Speaks podcast and youth documentary club, where scholars learn how to write, produce, and film their own short documentaries and record their own podcasts. The club has produced 2 short documentaries within the last 2 years and has been recognized by the city of San Bernardino. We have industrial automation and robotics sponsored by UHAVIATAM of San Manuel Nations, where scholars learn how to code using an Epson robot, a real-world tool utilized by engineers in the industry, thereby gaining valuable insights into the world of robotics and technology. Through this interactive and engaging approach, participants develop coding skills and foster a deeper understanding of math, engineering, and architecture. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker.
Hello, my name's Ulises Benitez. I'm here on behalf of the Youth Advisory Board of San Bernardino. I just want to say good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and councils, the council board. It's been a while. I just want to remind you that the point in time count is tomorrow. I want to see how many people in the community and how many of you guys have signed up to count the homelessness in our city, because the only people that can make it better is the community. And thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker.
My name is Dr. Rob Carlson. City Council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm not normally one who speaks out, but you are my elected city officials, as well as that of other people living in San Bernardino. The time has come. ICE is running rampant around San Bernardino, stopping at a location, swooping up individuals, moving on to another location, swooping up individuals, yet our city council does not appear to be doing anything to be addressing this practice, as many other cities are currently doing. I'm all for ICE arresting and deporting illegal residents who are criminals. However, ICE has gone far beyond that rounding up the criminals for deportation to rounding up anyone who's not white. Many of those individuals have lived for years in our community and have been good, outstanding citizens. This ICE mandate is very reminiscent of the Gestapo rounding up of the Jewish population in World War II for extermination. We are seeing on national television that ICE is forcefully entering private homes, as well as shootings in the streets. Some of these good people being detained are from your wards. And as our representative, you appear to be opting out not to deal with the problem. If you agree with me, then step up and protect us. If you disagree, you owe us an explanation as to why you think ICE is acting appropriately. In my opinion, the problem deserves more of your time and attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker, please.
Honorable Mayor, honorable members of the council, my name is Melina Enriquez. Today, I am here representing the San Bernardino County Youth Advisory Board. I'm here to announce the upcoming event happening on the 28th of February. That's right, the YAB will be hosting its first event of the year, but hopefully not our last. While a venue is yet to be determined, we are excited to continually update the council on the progress on this great endeavor. We want to bring hope to the San Bernardino County community and help connect them to resources they have never known existed. We plan for food, refreshments, games, activities, and of course, information booths from different programs for a variety of services. More details to come as the day comes near, obviously. And council members, we hope to see you there. An email will be sent out to you all with the proper invitation. So look out for that, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next public speaker.
My name is Sam Catalano, and I proudly represent Paris Hill Pickleball, an organization of pickleball and tennis players that are 350 members strong. We've partnered with the Neighborhood Association Council, the North Park Neighborhood Association, the Inland Empire Pickle Pals, and the Paris Hill Tennis Players Group to promote and advocate for the public park system in the city. I would personally like to thank, and our group would like to thank, Theodore Sanchez and Juan Figueroa for playing in our second annual Neighborhood Association Council Pickleball Tournament, and also Mayor Tran, who also played in the tournament. All good pickleball players, and we cordially invite the rest of the council, city department heads and others that are so inclined to play in next year's tournament. We offer free lessons for you folks anytime, so take advantage of it if you care to. I would also like to thank Councilperson Sandra Ibarra, whose ward Paris Hill is in, for her vision and her commitment in supporting projects at Paris Hill Park. Paris Hill Park is 64.4 acres. It's 13.3% of all the parkland in the city, and it is the city's flagship park. The facilities there are incomparable. They are well underutilized and underfunded currently, but they have the potential to be a major attraction, both recreationally and culturally for the city. We are also supporting and promoting, and Sandra Ibarra is partnering with us on supporting a regional pickleball and tennis center at Paris Hill Park and an urban trail at Paris Hill Park. And we're currently working on that, and we have pledged to go as hard as we can to try to get that project funded. So, and we are advocating for the economic benefits that utilizing those facilities. We think it will energize the park, those facilities, those two concepts will act as anchors for the parks and generate traffic 365 days a year. That will help to support the businesses along Highland Avenue, which need that support. The park used to do that and currently can do it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sam, I heard that Figueroa and Sanchez are not that good. But they did show up, and I will give them credit for that, but you're being way too kind to them.
Well, Councilmember Ibarra, we're going to team up and we're going to take them on for 2026. So.
Our city manager is also going to join in.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Catalano. Next public speaker.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council members. My name is Kaylin Peoples, and I am the CEO and Executive Director for Neighborhood Housing Services. Tonight, I'm here respectfully to request your approval of the exclusive negotiating agreement for sites 8, 9, and 10 that are number 16 on your agenda. I'll be direct with you why this matters. San Bernardino has teachers, healthcare workers, and public safety personnel who cannot afford to buy a home in the communities they serve. These 19 townhomes represent real solutions for real people, your essential workforce, who are currently priced out of home ownership. For 40 years, NHSIE has been transforming communities across the Inland Empire, but what makes this project different is our data. We did not guess at the need, we documented it. We have over 100 families on a wait list who are 12 months from being mortgage ready, actively seeking exactly what we are proposing. These are not hypothetical buyers, they are your neighbors ready to invest in the city of San Bernardino. Let me address the other question. Is this project ready? Yes. We have complied with density compatibility. We have secured conditional funding commitments from national CDFIs and housing finance partners who believe in this project and NHSIE's capacity to execute it. We've applied for state mortgage assistance programs. These financial partners have done their due diligence and they're ready to invest alongside us in the city of San Bernardino. The numbers are straightforward. $9.7 million in investment, 19 families moving forward from renters to homeowners, serving households earning 60% to 120% AMI. But the real return on investments are families building generational wealth, neighborhoods gaining stability, and San Bernardino retaining the workforce that runs the city. The ENA allows us to move forward with the final phase of our pre-development work, completing environmental studies, finalizing architectural plans, and closing our financing. This is the natural progression for a project of this scope, and we are ready to execute. I stand before you backed by 4 decades of NHSIE's proven track record, a qualified development team with deep Inland Empire expertise, most importantly, families who are counting on us and on you to make home ownership possible. I respectfully urge you to approve the ENA tonight. Let's partner together to ensure that the people who serve San Bernardino can live in San Bernardino. Thank you for your time and consideration. Good night.
Thank you. Next public speaker.
Hello, Mayor Pro Tem and honorary council members. I'm Keith Benitez, a youth advocate for the San Bernardino County Youth Advisory Board, the former chair of said board, and consistent and regular volunteer and supporter of our city's annual point-in-time count, which of course is tomorrow. It is something I have had the honor of doing for the past 3 years. I am of course so proud of the amazing and wonderful members of our community who always take the time to come out and take the time out of their days to come out and volunteer every year to support our community. But of course, it's San Bernardino. I have my grievances. And I'm a fairly withdrawn individual, but with that, I'm incredibly analytical. I recognize patterns. I notice things many people tend to overlook and don't tend to notice. And one thing that I have noticed time and time every year, You can't use logic when it comes to the point in time count. I've been wanting to say this multiple times. The homeless population in our city, you can't logic them. I don't know how to explain this. We're using ideas from people who don't know how to survive in the situations they're living in. I describe it as we're thinking of people who sit at computers all day that are treating this like it's a camping trip, when in reality, this is essentially Survivor, but in a big city. I don't know how to explain it. I have autism, and I recognize patterns when there's not supposed to be. And the fact that I'm saying there isn't a pattern here is kind of a big deal. I want to say, I know it's really too late to say that we need to change things, but I believe in this city. I believe that our council can recognize that something is wrong. Our numbers are so off. They're so off. I believe in you. I wholeheartedly believe you know this is not right. The way that we do this, the way that the times we go out, the time of year we go out, these people are not gonna be outside. These people are not where we think they're gonna be. You need to think a little differently, and you need to ask people who've actually lived it. I've had my grievances with it, but I still do it because I love this community and I love my city, and I believe in you. I have faith in humanity to a fault. I hope you guys can recognize there's something wrong here and can fix the pattern where there isn't one. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker.
Yes, I'm James Smith, Chairman of the Arts and Historical Preservation Commission here in the city of San Bernardino. I always talk about solutions to improve the image of the city of San Bernardino. I wanted to acknowledge the excellent meeting that our Mayor Pro Tem is conducting. Congratulations on your appointment. I also think that the city manager is doing an excellent job in his position. So we have two very positive things happening in the city of San Bernardino. The most important thing that I've attended since our last city council meeting is the special meeting on the Homeless Navigation Center San Bernardino Campus Project. Later on, you're going to talk about this, and I strongly encourage you to support this because this is a move in the right direction for the city of San Bernardino. That's the important thing. We need to talk about positive things. It's kind of interesting what's happening now with the homeless count. That's what they'll be talking about later on in the meeting. It's item 15, I believe. But I strongly encourage you to support this for the betterment of the city of San Bernardino, because we have to improve the image of our city. That's what we need to do, is to have people come here, want to come to move to San Bernardino and have a positive image about our leadership. You're our leadership right now. We need to continue that to make sure that people realize that we're doing some very positive things in the city of San Bernardino. I wanted to specifically compliment Cassandra Searcy, who was part of the special meeting we have on the Navigational Center. I think that's something that we need to really move forward with, and I wanted to mention that tonight. I think it's a step in the right direction. We need to make positive decisions for the city of San Bernardino. And we're not doing this just alone. This is a project that they talked about, the city of Fontana, Colton, Loma Linda, Highland, other cities, to work together to solicit some funds from the county to help finance this. So we're not doing it by ourselves. we're doing with those teams, and strongly encourage you to support that tonight. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. Next public speaker.
Hi. I gave a handout to the staff to come with my public comment. Do you have it? Oh, good. Okay, time to start from the beginning. Hello, my name's Eric Marquez, and it's a pleasure to speak before you again. And please pardon my absence. Last month in December, I was busy. You know, holidays, as I'm sure the rest of you were, as I'm sure you were all tired afterwards since you didn't have a meeting in the beginning of the month. My aunt died, and I'm missing her funeral for this. Now, as much as I would love to cry my crocodile tears, but mostly for attention, my presentation and/or handout I just gave everyone here is kind of more important, which is why I'm not there for the 2-day funeral. Specifically, it's part 1 of a 5-part plan on how to revitalize the city from business to homelessness. This first part will cover business, specifically a potential small business loan program, which will be an actual opportunity for small business to prosper in our city by incentivizing with lower interest rates and affordable loans to people who otherwise wouldn't be able to start with their own capital. And as much as I do love being a hypocrite, I don't say I'm all for small business when I do things, or receive a POA endorsement when I tried to dissolve the police during a bankruptcy along with the fire department. I'm talking about Fred. So please keep this in mind. I cited 23 sources specifically as precedent and laws and codes and ordinances, specifically to cover the law regarding a loan program and/or a bond program that could fund this. Because how can we expect people to come into our city and invest in us if we won't even invest in ourselves? All we have done for the past, when was the bankruptcy? 11 years ago? Is keep up status quo, barely get out of bankruptcy, and continuously just slowly drop back into it, doing the bare minimum that we could possibly do, claiming we are doing our best. Well, this is one step to doing our actual best. Now, I have 8 seconds. Oh, I chewed rosemary today. It's chemically similar to aspirin. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next public speaker, please.
I'll call additional names. Mo Savala, Victor Suarez, Christian Shaughnessy, Michael Williamson, Carmen Gallegos, Shazette Scott, John Schollenberger, Lydia Savala, Dolores Armstead, Sharon Negretti, and Tiffany Lee.
Your name was called and you have filled out a public speaker comment slip. Please go ahead and proceed to the podiums. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Scott Olson. I'm a lifetime resident of San Bernardino, and I've been very active and aware of what's going on in the city for decades, which is why I have to revisit something I haven't talked about in a long time, in a different way. Fred, tag, you're it. And I want to clarify something because I had several people who have come up to me over the last several years and asked me or talk about Fred being a Democrat. And I was very confused because Fred is a Republican and I serve with him on the Republican Central Committee. He's an elected member, I'm an ex officio. A lot of you are going, what are you talking about? That's what I said. Then I got a hold of a flyer that was sent to me by one of his constituents. It answered the questions. If you're a Democrat and you voted for Fred because he's a Democrat, you got conned. Oh well, welcome to politics. Okay, and here's how it goes. There's a flyer that was given out to 4th Ward San Bernardino residents, and by the way, it has Fred Charrette's name on it, so it came from him, or somebody did fraud. No FPPC complaints, so we'll go with it's Fred's. San Bernardino Democrats supporting Fred Charette for city council. Now, as individuals, there's no problem with you supporting an individual. I'm going to tell you right now, being involved in campaigns like I am, Republicans support Democrats and Democrats support Republicans. We work back and forth together. It's called getting things done, especially when you're talking about a race that is nonpartisan. Normally in a nonpartisan race, everybody says your politics and which party you belong to doesn't matter. Fred takes it to another level. The mayor put a personal statement in here. Had to put in there he's a Democrat. Now, I'm trust you, Mayor Morris, I'm not very happy with what he did, but I never heard him refer to himself as a Democrat. Then Susan Longville on a water board, Democrat, and then gives her title. Now, a lot of you are going, Scott, why are you making a big deal out of this? Because if you're a Democrat reading this flyer, you're very easily manipulated. And Fred, that's what the problem is. You're a member of the Republican Central Committee, you're endorsed by the Central Committee, and yet you put nowhere on any information in any way, shape, or form. You don't mention the endorsement, you don't even mention you're a Republican, but you'll send out stuff like this. That's just plain deceptive and wrong. But then that's how Fred does things. Let's go on to a comment from our former Mayor Morris. And I'm quoting this from your flyer. Fred has helped get our city out of bankruptcy. Are you kidding, Fred? You sat here and you were one of those who voted a city into bankruptcy. You were on the council for years before we were bankruptcy. I don't remember you doing anything except rah, 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 and being a good little, follow what you're told. Okay, now, and he's worked hard, the bankruptcy. You didn't work together. I'll go with you next week.
Thank you. Next public speaker, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of the council, Mayor Pro Tem. My name is Christian Shaughnessy. I'm a candidate for San Bernardino City Council Ward 2. I work full-time in my ward. I work with a lot of unhoused youth, folks of all ages. In the housing space, unfortunately, morale is not very high about the quick establishment of the Homeless Navigation Center in this city. If we go look at plans from the city of Fontana, go look at the center that already exists in Victorville, if we go look at many of our neighbors, we see plans moving along at a much faster pace than what we have now. And it's something that raises the question of where our elected officials place emphasis, where they place priority in our city. As folks know, we had many people speak about the point-in-time count. We have the highest rate of the unhoused, of the homeless in the entire county of San Bernardino. Our Mayor Pro Tem very wisely pointed out that the city of Riverside at one time had a great deal of homeless folks in comparison to the Riverside County numbers. But then the city of Riverside, much like other cities in our region all throughout the Inland Empire, they were able to get together, get things done, get their homeless shelters, other homeless initiatives completed, and yet this city remains in a sore spot. We have an affordability crisis. We have slumlords absolutely brutalizing our people, people absolutely exploiting poor human beings, marginalized human beings, people that can barely speak English. And I know that a lot of politicking happens in this city. I know there are factions. Sometimes people tell me it's cheesy. I talk about our factions working together. But when it comes to this issue, while human beings are still alive, because it is a matter of life and death, let's go get things done. Let's go follow through with the models, with any of the models, frankly, at this point, that Cassandra Searcy was kind enough to give us, regional, county. Let's get something done. There's so much politicking when it comes, and so much urgency and vim and gusto when it comes to getting a city commissioner up to question about whether or not he's going to stay as city commissioner, whether it comes to a potential censure of words we don't like coming out of the mouths of other council members. And we saw the criminal charges that are apparently being done out of closed session today. With that same priority that we give to those things against our political opponents, let's do it on behalf of our working families. Let's do it on behalf of our taxpayers. Let's get something done while these people are still alive. And I know from other things that the factions have been able to work on together that this city can and will progress. It might be a very dark place we're in right now, but as was said by other public comments, we can follow positive examples and we can proceed forward. So let's get this Homeless Navigation Center done. Let's follow through in other innovative methods to reduce the homelessness number in the city. And let's make San Bernardino a wonderful, proud place to live in, where we could raise our children effectively and with passion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment speaker.
To old man Fred, you said something about the state shoving things down our throat. That's how we feel when you guys vote some BS through. This meeting still start too early. Hardworking people can't come to these early-ass meetings. Please bring back Zoom public comments. We need an emergency shelter. What else? To the city attorney, try to cut our public comment down. That's why we don't want you guys here. That's why we don't want you nor your company here, because some of those lawsuits is because of your company and what you guys did. What else? Kim Kanas, you said something about there's no left side, right side, but there is. Because this homeless shelter got delayed because that left side was so focused on getting the city attorney so bad. They even had a meeting on Sunday. Y'all don't even have meetings on Sunday, but you guys forced that because you guys are so thirsty to get a city manager so bad, but you guys took the attention off the homeless people. Now we backtracking and try to catch up, and then we over here begging the county for money. And we voted state of emergency in 2021. It's 2026, you guys. Come on. You guys BS that one. You guys dropped the ball on that. And then at point time and count, okay, if they do it again, are you guys going to do something with that resource that what they just did? If y'all going to have them do it again, y'all need to pay them. Come on, that stuff ain't cool to have to sit there and do that all day. It is kind of depressing to be around and trying to help people, you know what I mean? Like, come on, people. The other thing, to the police department. I feel like we give so much to the police department, but we don't hold the police department accountable. The guy who shot the guy who was running away in the back, and then we had to pay $5 million to the family, he should be fired. He shouldn't even be in the police force, to be honest. And then the other thing is, and then you guys need to go back to writing accident reports, because the only time you guys write an accident report is when someone gets hurt. It's unfair for a person to have 2-3 children in the back and then they got in a car accident. Now I got to hop on the computer on my phone, write a police report instead of just calling the police, having the police write a report. I had to do all that. And then take the time out away from my children to see if my children's okay. I had to, because whenever you get in a car accident, just to let everybody know, if you have someone in a car, they cannot be a witness. So then that means that you have to stop whoever is driving past who saw it and have them be your witness. That's the only way y'all can actually win. It's crazy, right? I got in a car accident. Not right now, but yeah, it's crazy. But to the elder that said that Trump is trying to have ICE arrest everybody who's non-white, Trump wants to create a white nation. And he wants to create a war so then he can get locked in as a president. You know, it's right there in front of our faces.
All right, and I feel it's necessary to confirm no one was hired on a Sunday, a city attorney nor a city manager. Next public speaker, please. Next public comment speaker, please.
Okay, you did have a meeting on a Sunday, which is unusual. First of all, are you aware that San Bernardino has the only site for paragliding in the Inland Empire and the most prestigious site in the Western region, in the West Coast? Did you know that? I didn't know that. I went to a planning commission, and the only item was regarding the 900 units on the west side of Cal State. It has been dropped down to 327 units. We appreciate that for environmental reasons. Appreciate that. But we had quite a few speakers regarding the hang gliding, and all they wanted to do was continue the event, continue the motion, and work with the developer, because it is the most prestigious. It is used to train pilots. It is used by people all over Southern California. He said all over the country. They come because we have the only site like that in the country. And we're not promoting it. Most didn't even know about it. Now you know about it. You should be really promoting it. Anyway, I found out that the development was approved and there's no working with the paraglider. So we lost a gem in the city. We lost another gem. That is so sad. We are the only one on the West Coast. And now it's gone because we didn't want to work with the developer. It's sad, but not unusual for this city. Oxbow is still here. Another winter, another wind, more rain, and nothing's happened. So Ward 5, what's happening? You made a big stink when Dr. Ortiz brought it up. You made a big stink about you want to be in control, but what have you done? Nada. Here we are, another winter, another wind, and people still getting sick. But that's okay, because you're not doing anything. Can we have a city hall this year? We are the center of the county of San Bernardino. We have an iconic building, and we can't use it. Why? There's no reason. Why can't we use it? Why haven't you reopened it? You said it about 3-4 years ago. We're waiting, and nothing happening. You know how bad we look? We are the city, the heart of the county, and we don't have a city hall. You all should be ashamed of yourselves. The world is watching. Our city looks like it's been abandoned. Do you know that we have some of the largest fairs? What do they call them? We have some of the largest fairs, rave parties, and other events at the Orange Show. But there's no place for those people to go. We are losing out on so much money, so much revenue, because we have nothing or nowhere for those people to go. They can't go eat. They can't go sleep. They've got no place to go. And it's okay, because our downtown has not been done, and there is no reason. It's because of especially the first 4. Thank you.
All right, next public comment speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, Clerk, and the Treasurer. And my name is Michael Williamson. I've been in Ward 5 for 43 years now. I raised a family and been retired going on 10 years. And I also take care of my 91-year-old mother. I'm here tonight because I went to the City Commission and Commissioner meeting, and I brought this forward that on the 19th of November 2024, the city arborist was at my neighbor's house and felled a tree, and it landed on the wall between our houses, and it busted the coping off at the top of the wall. By the time I got there, the contractor told me that wasn't part of the job. So about a week later, I figured nothing was happening, so I went and found out I had to file a claim against the city. I filed a claim against the city, and I didn't ask for any money or anything. I just wanted the wall fixed. I'm looking at the time. Anyway, I was recontacted twice by George Hills. They do the litigation for the city of San Bernardino. And I got a notice of rejection. That was because I didn't ask for any money. So I had to get bids. So I got bids. Okay, and I did an amended claim, which I have not heard anything back from. Okay, and what I would like to do at this meeting is George Hills, in their notice of rejection, said that I didn't work in good faith and with reasonable cause. I don't think we need people like this working for the city of San Bernardino. So I would ask you to not let them bid for the job again. So that's all I want to get done here. Thank you.
All right, and Mike, I will reach out to you so that we can speak in regards to your claim, and I can hopefully get some answers for you, okay?
Okay, yeah, by the way, I called you 3 times, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, left voicemails. I never got a call back.
I don't have any voicemails from you, but I will contact you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next public comment speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Shazette Scott. I'm going to introduce myself because some folks, I want everybody to know me. It's just, it's innate in me that everybody know me because I'm out here in San Bernardino by choice. I've chose to serve in San Bernardino, my career to help people. And for most of my career, I was with the union for several years. I was with the state senate for several years. And now I'm with, I have my own nonprofit, and I work for a family assistance program, which is the largest nonprofit in San Bernardino County. I'm also a podcast and radio show host. And I invite any of you here today that are doing wonderful work here, because I know there are a lot of you here, to come on and talk to me about what you're doing to make San Bernardino City and the county better. I'm also an affordable housing and alternative housing specialist. I've been trained here in the state of California and on the on the East Coast about affordable housing models for homeless folks. 3 weeks ago, now I think, I was voted as one of the chairs, the co-chairs, you have to have two, co-chairs of the San Bernardino County Homeless Partnership Central Valley Regional Steering Committee and the Central Valley COC Regional Network. And that consists of most of your nonprofits here in San Bernardino County. We meet every month on the first Wednesday at the Colton Community Center at 1 o'clock, and I invite you to come. There's been some negative perspectives of the work that the nonprofits are doing that have been said out loud by some sitting city council members. And it's very unfair to broad stroke CBOs when the city, just because the city has given contracts maybe to some CBOs that aren't living up to their expectation. That's not all of us. Name names so we all don't get offended when you say things, well, all the nonprofits need training. Nonprofits do the hard work, the cleanup work, and for little recognition, lots of expectations, and a shrinking budget. And it's unfair and uncalled for city staff or city council members to openly disparage the servants in this city that are doing the hard work. If not for nonprofit, the homeless community would definitely be tenfold larger, and the jails would be fully overwhelmed. About item 15, we supported a family assistance program as long as it's affordable. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next public comment speaker.
Lydia Savala. Again, I'd like to congratulate Jasmine Glover as our new director, and when invited, I will provide any assistance or support that I can offer operationally. As a matter of historical perspective, I feel compelled to draw your attention to a few distinctions over the last 5 years in between directors. On a good note, with regard to the police department, I know that they took a beating, and I was not, in terms of their performance, and I was not privy to the operational aspects then. But on a good note, they did control the pet overpopulation. That they did right. And when Chris Watson walked in 2020, she was handed a plum. She had an intake in 2020 of 5,000 total animals. And that was further enhanced by a historical pandemic that contributed to a wave of adoptions across the country. And that kept the inventory, low for a couple of years, but then it got out of control because we had policies and programs that were not effective or even not legal, and so the population doubled in 5 years from 5,000 to about close to 10,000. By contrast, my condolences to Jasmine because she's being handed quite, she's been left holding the bag, I will say, that she's inheriting one fine mess, and she's behind the 8 ball. How do I know that? I am the author of 50 Reasons to Replace Chris Watson. And that petition is on change.org. It has 2,769 signatures. I have not closed that petition because although Chris is gone, the policies and programs are still in effect. So I do not want to see history repeat itself. And I can only surmise that perhaps the reason for the explosion of the population and allowing policies to exist that contributed to the pet population was for some empire building, which is, by the way, a form of corruption. Now, with regard to that slide that was up, Mr. Levitt, that you, now I may have gotten this wrong, and if I did get it wrong, give me 10 lashes with a wet noodle. But I applaud the use of the mobile veterinary vehicle to do surgeries on the premises. Nevertheless, that was not the intention of the San Manuel Agreement, which we have not fulfilled our obligation to disperse $300,000, $100,000 a year for 3 years and do 1,000 surgeries a year for 3 years to the community. That means the vehicle goes in every single ward. You owe us.
All right, thank you very much. Next public comment speaker.
Good evening, Council. My name is Mo Zavala, and I am a member of the San Bernardino Democratic Luncheon Club, the local chapter of the Democratic Party. On December 5th, our party voted anonymously to release a historic do not support letter against former Councilman Benito Barrios, who is running for City Council in Ward 2. In 2017, Benito Barrios publicly endorsed corrupt former mayor and present mayoral candidates John Valdivia, and said that he was exactly the kind of public servant we need in the mayor's office. He received campaign donations from John Valdivia and was an enthusiastic collaborator to Valdivia's agenda. As reported by the San Bernardino County Sentinel, he also endorsed Donald Trump for president in 2016 when he was in rooms with Republicans, while he claimed to have Democratic values when he was in rooms with us in the Democratic Luncheon Club, Democratic elected officials, and on his public-facing social media. In 2017, Barrios signed a letter to the Trump administration glorifying Trump and asking for funds that were conditioned by Attorney General Jeff Sessions on bringing ICE to our city to attack immigrants and working families. The San Bernardino County Young Democrats and immigrant rights groups condemned him at the time, and we condemn Benito Barrios now. Barrios was a fugitive from the law when he first ran for office on a law and order platform. He was caught by the press enterprise trying to call the police chief to get out of a traffic stop while still a fugitive. And he made international news selling guns on the dais in the middle of a council meeting. He later told the San Bernardino Sun that it would probably never happen again. Barrios is now on his 5th run for office and 3rd run against the current incumbent. He lost re-election by getting last place in his own primary with only 29.7% of the vote, failed to qualify a write-in attempt, and failed to qualify for the ballot again when he ran against Congressman Pete Aguilar in 2024 and challenged him for allegedly being too liberal. At a time when John Valdivia is running for mayor again, San Bernardino cannot afford to give him a free ally on the council if he wins. We cannot go back to when homelessness, poverty, and public safety was even worse in Ward 2 than the horrible conditions it is now. We urge all Democrats to join us in active campaigning and spending money to defeat Benito Barrios and fight for real change in Ward 2. Please read our full do not support letter and our numerous resources on the Democratic Luncheon Club website.
All right.
Thank you.
Next public speaker, please.
Hello, Carmen Gallegos. I want to congratulate you guys on getting rid of a lot of eyesores and controlling a lot of those fires, which also added to the problem. Now, of course, there's a lot of death traps you have to try and tackle too as building and safety. But anyway, so today I'm addressing the sidewalks and roads. One particular road I was trying to get a hold of is Tippecanoe and 9th. And what they did was they built a warehouse across the street and they built a school right on the other side. And I noticed up the street they did work on the roads, which is great, and some of the sidewalks there where the U-Haul place is, but in the apartments. But they need to make a sidewalk going across, because I understand that they can't put a sidewalk there for a particular reason. I don't know who owns the property next door. I'm trying to find that out too, maybe with Public Works. But like I said, you just congratulations, and even the police calls. you know, my police calls have reduced a lot, but again, I'm still trying to, you know, address that issue. Anyways, I shouldn't have a problem, but anyway, so that's all I want to know, is even all the sidewalks and streets, because, you know, that's a circulation. We're on the ground. We're humans. We need to have pedestrian not getting hit on the road, and then citing them be on the road, and there's no sidewalk. Same with addressing any issue as far as your, to even code anything against somebody, and there's nothing there for your, you know, there's no street, there's no sidewalk, then to me, in my knowledge, that they should not even worry about putting anything, tickets down. So again, it falls on the city to try and, you know, eliminate that problem with pedestrians. Like where I moved, there was candles on the ground. I was like, oh, who did that? But the thing is too, they were setting off fireworks, which distracted drivers and hit them. So again, and then with alcohol and drugs and whatever else, human trafficking or whatever, that can be controlled too by looking out for your city. But you've done a good job. You've took down the concentration camps, which I'm glad they did that, because I went from that to buildings, which caused the fires in the first place. Letting alcohol and drugs, you know, they forget too. You put that together with chemicals, it's gonna blow up. But yeah, and helmet law is really good to have, because with the helmet law, I could get a sidewalks. I think they should address more for the people walking, and also for medical reasons. They do have wheelchairs and strollers to have a safe passage. So I don't know if they can do a whole assessment of what needs to be done, especially with people who are going, that are little, that won't be seen. But also, like I said, even big people. If you're finding out what's going on, you know, if there's candles on the ground, you better find out what's going on around you, day and night. And not look the other way, because no one called it in. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Next public comment speaker.
Good evening. My name is Tiffany Lee, and I am here to address item 15. I reside in Ward 5, so particularly, yeah. I want to know when this navigation center is going to be open. I am a homeowner. I've been in San Bernardino for about 10 years, and I purchased a home in the city of San Bernardino in 2021, excuse me. So, of course, you know, my taxes are sky high. And I'm also an employee of the San Bernardino Community College District. So, I have been in workforce and economic development for over 20 years, started in Las Vegas, so I am very much aware of how economic and workforce development works. When I came here, I actually worked for the county and managed the AJCC in Rancho for 5 years, assisting individuals with jobs, and also working with the economic development team to see what areas that they are focusing on, to see what businesses their leases are going to expire in the next 2 years, and helping them put together a plan to bring those businesses here to the Inland Empire. In Rancho, it was very successful because Rancho is a nice city. They have less homelessness. And here we don't. And I'm seeing, this is my first time attending a meeting, and I plan on attending them here going forward because I work hard. And I don't want, my community where I live is very nice, and we want to keep it that way. The homelessness needs to be addressed immediately. I'm sure where you guys live, you probably don't have the issues that we have. I'm assuming, because I think if you did, you would address these issues a little bit sooner, and know that they are important. My grandkids come, I can't even take them to the parks. There's homeless people that are literally pulling down their pants using the restroom in public, and it's not right. It's disgusting. Something needs to be done about it. And I know about the homeless count. I also have been doing that for the last 10 years since I've been here. I work with the Rialto Police Department. So I'm very much aware of the homeless count. And again, it's a great initiative. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because half of the people that are homeless don't want the help. So there needs to be a navigation center. I'm for it. I'm going to be at every board meeting moving forward until we get it. And I also want to let you guys know, or anybody in the community, I do work in workforce development. So I partner with the County of San Bernardino, and there's a Path Builder program that is going to be taking place starting on February the 2nd. So if you know anyone right now that is between the ages of 18 and 28, that is looking to start a career with the county. There is a certificate that they can receive through the program after 4 weeks. That's a number certificate that allows them to apply. There's like 5 different positions right now that the county has available with several different positions. This certificate will allow them to apply without having qualifications, so that it overrides the qualifications and allows them to apply for these positions.
All right, thank you so much for
okay.
your public comment. And
Thank you. I'll be
being-
back next week.
I appreciate
Next
that.
month.
And if you're amenable to it, if you could leave your phone number with the secretary back there, I'd appreciate it. I would like to contact you as my constituent. Thank you so much for your comment. Next public speaker, please.
Hi, council members. My name is Sharon Negretti, and I'm here tonight because San Bernardino urgently needs a new animal shelter. The current shelter is outdated, unhealthy, and unsafe for the animals, as well as the staff, employees, and the citizens of this city. If you take a tour, you'll see just what I mean. You can't keep patching a broken building. It needs to be replaced. This does not have to be a choice between do nothing or pay for everything at once. There are ways to phase the funding while moving forward immediately with a site plan, design, and real construction timeline. Please consider site options for the new facility, cost ranges, and timeline funding plan that does not delay construction, partnership and sponsorship options. Furthermore, there are proven viable revenue options that can help this facility support itself and reduce strain on the city's general fund. I have several ideas I can email you that have worked successfully in other cities and would strengthen engagement with both the community and the rescue organizations. Self-serve dog wash stations, pay per wash, very low staffing, lease grooming suites, rent to groomers, revenue with no city staffing, low-cost vaccine microchip clinics, steady income, and community service. I have a whole list of them here that are really working in other cities. Lastly, you have volunteers that are ready to step up. I am a volunteer. I've been working with the shelter, and I'm willing to help. Use us, please. We're here for whatever is needed. We can do fundraising, donor outreach, sponsorship opportunities, and bring in financial support for a new shelter and improved services. After all, you guys, you are approving a $3 million raised medium and a $17.2 million navigation center. Not that you don't need it, but we just need a shelter. These animals are suffering in that shelter right now. And I know, Kim, you've been through it, and I don't know if anybody else has been in there to take a tour. The city manager is going to be taking a tour. But I advise you to please come in and see exactly what I'm talking about, because it's pitiful. It does not look good for San Bernardino. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Negretti. Next public comment speaker.
John Schellenberger, City of San Bernardino. I want to comment on the press release that was given tonight, and I want to address the council. Why would you try to cover up recordings of what Chief Goodman and POA President Lauria told Dr. Ortiz and Scott Beard in meetings if you weren't lying and you know that they confessed to the CLETS violation? I watched that press release, that conference that was given. Okay, he admitted this to them, that it was an illegal CLETS run and it was politically motivated. That's what I heard. Okay, Lauria said the same thing from what I understand. Okay, so if you guys want to go down this road, if you're that stupid enough to do it, you know, that's on you. Okay, now I have questions for Councilperson Canas, Councilman Sanchez, and Councilman Fred Charette. All three of you are now being funded and supported by San Bernardino Police Department's organization, the POA. Okay, how is it not a conflict of interest for you three that have been not only supported by but endorsed by them, to be in meetings in closed session about when the POA is named in a civil suit. How is that not a conflict of interest for you to be in there? It is a conflict of interest. I need you to explain to the citizens of San Bernardino how it isn't. The level of corruption in the city is staggering to me. And Fred, I've been here 17 years, okay? You've been on this council, what, 16 of it? Not once did the POA endorse you until now. And I find that very strange, okay? Is it because they think you're gonna be some type of a help to them in this situation? Are you gonna be some type of an ally or whatever the case may be? Look, I'm gonna tell you something. In my sphere of the world over there, the POA's reputation is not good right now because of what's going on. They're SOL. And they did it to themselves. And not only that, they're bringing on bad reputation to a fantastic police department, the boots on the ground that do the work every single day with all of this mess. So you guys have enough explaining to do to this community. You can spin anything that I say at this council all you want to, but the facts are facts. And this is absolutely appalling, but that's okay. The side of right is on your side, Dr. Ortiz. There is nothing unethical about you at all.
All right, thank you. Does that conclude public comments?
Yeah, that concludes the speakers.
Did we receive any written comments?
No, we received no written comments.
All right, we will move on to consent calendar, items 2 through 14. City Manager, do you have any items that need to be pulled at this time?
Yes, I have, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I have two things. I wanted to bring notice to the council that there's a correction for item number 6, and I'm going to ask you to pull that to be heard as an item. And then number 15 has a revision that's on the dais for you also.
All right, thank you very much. Council members, are there any items that you wish to pull, starting with Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes, item 9, please.
Councilmember Ortiz?
14.
Councilmember Figueroa?
None.
Councilmember Flores?
None.
And Councilmember Charette?
Yes, number 10 and 14 has already been pulled, but I want to talk to it as well.
All right, do we have a motion to pass the remainder? All right,
Move the bell in second.
all right. And if everyone could use their voting screens to vote.
Councilmember Flores, can I have your voice vote?
Yes.
Fred.
All right,
Motion passes unanimous for the consent calendar balance.
okay. We will move on to consent item number 2, approval of the various mayor and city council meeting minutes. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's already been approved. Number 6 was the
Number
first one.
6, I apologize. Adopting the executive compensation and benefits plan and
Correct.
amending the executive group salary schedule. Please go ahead and proceed.
Good evening. You should have received a memo. There was an error in the staff report only for this item. Under the section compensation on the third bullet point, it outlines the cost of living increase for July 1, 2026. It was erroneously listed as 3% and is actually 3.5%. So that's the only correction. Also, if the revenues fall below 3.75%, the COLA would be split in two. In July, it would be 1.75%, and then January 2027, an additional 1.75%. That's all.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So just to clarify, so this is, all the calculations, though, are based on 3.5%.
Correct.
It just said 3%?
Yeah, it's just an error. In the resolution, it's listed correctly. It was a copy-paste error on the staff report.
Okay. And then I just want to revisit, so is this in conjunction to what was aligned with closed session?
This is the staff report that does align with closed session, correct?
So, Mr. City Attorney, can we then talk about the portion of it?
Not what was discussed in closed session, but you can talk substantively. So,
I guess-
like if you asked questions in there that you want answers to, you can ask those questions.
I guess my question is about the salary schedule.
Okay.
So, the classifications for how much we're providing raises in the compaction, regarding the deputy city manager, chief of police, assistant city manager, are they getting raises?
Everyone is correct. That's in the
And how
executive group.
much?
3%. The cost of living increase?
No. Are we adjusting anybody's salaries?
We are. It's called out in the staff report. We are making a compaction adjustment for the chief of police based on the percentage of differential between the chief of police and assistant chief of police, and that's as a result of the ratification of the POA.
And how much is that?
It's approximately 30%.
And what is that in dollars?
In dollars, it would take it from, can I grab my?
Yes, please.
So it would take the base salary from $373,481 and 44 cents to $402,489 and 70 cents, and the difference is $29,008.26.
Okay.
And that takes the differential between the assistant chief and the chief of police to 23%, which is consistent with the compensation structure we have with department heads and their next in charge.
Okay. And then the assistant city manager, is that just, how high
There's
is
no
that?
adjustment to the assistant
Just-
city manager, but we did identify the compensation differential, and that's at about 34%.
And what does that now make that salary?
Well, that's just with the cost of living
Just the
adjustment. So
COLA.
there's no additional adjustment outside of the cost of living adjustment.
Okay, and then the deputy city manager?
Same
Same
there,
thing?
it's just COLA.
Okay, and
All of the
then-
other classifications, there were no compaction issues with any other classifications.
Was there any director position that needed to be adjusted to match the other director positions?
No, that's something that we're looking at with the class and comp that is currently underway, so that'll be addressed when we get the results back from the class and comp study.
So I guess my question is, because you bring up the classic comp study, which I think is really important, and I know that we had redone the MOUs when we were doing the bargaining, which is where this compaction issue came across. So why is it not applicable to wait? To, here we're going to increase salaries by a salary by $30,000, as opposed to waiting to complete a class and comp study at some other time. Was there a cost benefit to us being able to apply these salaries at a later time when we're in the completion of being able to adjust the budget based on everybody's class and comp study?
Well, this one is not a class and it's not like a class and comp study where we're looking outside of the agency. The compaction was identified based on the new contract. We're addressing internal equity. So if you look at the differences between the other director level positions and their assistant or deputy director, the average compensation differential is approximately 23%. For the chief of police, it was 8.4%.
But is there anything that mandates us to raise a salary over $400,000 right now?
There's nothing that mandates us to raise salaries
So we could,
outside of a MOU.
even though we know there's 8%, we could hold this off right now until we have a better, because we are looking at budget cuts coming up at some point. And I think one of the biggest things in the community is when we look at this, which we understand COLA increases, but it's hard to justify to a community that we're paying people, we say the city manager, everybody in the city, as much as a house costs in our city, and where we're always sacrificing resources. So this doesn't have to be approved.
It's approved by the council, so.
But it doesn't have,
Correct.
like nobody's not going to
But
get
this is
paid.
this is a
Just a
recommendation. Yes, it's a recommendation, because without that, you run the risk of the next in charge pushing into the salary range of the chief of
So
police.
so
that's
this is
why.
something we could then address when we have a next in charge. We could, so like, I just want to be very
No, I
clear.
mean, the next in charge is in the assistant
Right.
chief of police, that
But
actual
nobody has
classification.
to get a raise tonight and not miss out. We could hold this off until June of this year if we wouldn't,
Council
when
could
we
hold this
relook at it.
off.
Okay.
If they wish.
So-
All right.
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council members, so we are recommending because of compaction, we are recommending the salary schedule as is. And if you held off, not only do you have the compaction issue, but also there's a 3.5% increase that's consistent with the rest of the organization that's in there too.
Right, but has anybody been promised the raise? I understand the 3.5% COLA increase, but has anybody been promised that they're going to get these type of raises? Or are we about ready to give the assistant chief a raise that's going to make this a bigger issue than it is? I guess that's my question. How
So there-
imminent
So we
are
look
these
at,
changes?
we look at total compensation for public safety, because they have other monetary compensation that they receive outside of a salary. So when the contract was negotiated, there are other monetary increases that PMA members receive that would cause an additional compaction issue.
At some point.
Correct.
Well, I
Now
think
and
all
at
of the
some point.
bargaining units, all the bargaining units had their agreements already approved. So they've
Correct.
already automatically going into effect.
Okay.
This is just regarding the executive classification.
Okay, I just want to make it clear, because when we come for cuts, I'm coming back to the recording. That we didn't have to give the raises. So, all right, thank you.
Do we have any other comments?
I still have my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can you please call for the vote?
Motion passes 5-1 with Councilmember Ortiz voting in opposition.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item number 9.
I was hoping to get a copy of that beforehand, but it is what it is. The reason I'm pulling item number 9 is because the city took on an ambitious public works projects to expand the State Street down from 16th, I believe, all the way down to Baseline. So as part of that, that whole holistic design, it included the median design, which was going to be paver stones. And I believe the cost came out to something like $120,000 for that, about a quarter mile. Your eyebrows go up.
Correct.
And so, at the behest of some people, the city manager at the time had the pavers removed and then had a design go out. And that design was then used for this RFP for landscape design for this quarter mile on the State Street expansion. The amount is $1.1 million with $60,000 every year for landscape maintenance. So why in this particular case, when throughout the city, when medians are built, it's either river rock and concrete or pavers? Second Street was just redone, and I know it's an off-site improvement done by the developer, but nonetheless, the practice has been to put this low-maintenance, cost-effective, aesthetically pleasing, neat median in these new build-outs for the middle of the road. Why in this case is this one a $1.1 million project?
You're absolutely correct. There was a rock blanket that was installed part of Phase 1, and based on recommendations by the previous city manager, the Public Work was instructed to remove the rock blanket and proceed to landscape.
Okay. So there's been a lot of talk about the budget, about being efficient, making sure that we are providing the highest quality of service that we can with the financial resources that the city has at its disposal. So I want to move to reject this bid and then have the staff work towards putting back what was originally intended for that quarter mile of median, which is either pavers, quarry rock, or river rock in concrete. We have to make sure that for projects like this, regardless of whether they are general fund or in this case, arterial circulation fund, that it's being used to have the most impact, the most positive impact for the residents of San Bernardino. And so with that, I mean, I'd also nudge in a suggestion that staff consider looking at a couple of the arterials in the 6th Ward where this money could better be utilized for streets like Mount Vernon, north of Baseline. You have a couple other arterials in the 6th Ward where we could use that circulation money. So that's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Question by Councilmember Ortiz.
Yeah, I love when we give raises and then we figure out how not to invest in beautifications. Because that's crazy. One, because it's not your ward, and two, because this is an artery, a main going to be, with the end of the fruition, a main artery through the 6th Ward. This is where the kids go to school, up and down Arroyo. It looks like crap. They tore it up. They never re-beautified the area. They didn't make it worthy of what it should be, and it's an extension of State Street. And so I think this is where it comes down to the thought to talk about the budget, but it never applies to the investment of the people. Because the people in that area, if you go in that area, want better. It doesn't look nice. And Councilman Flores, I'm sure you're going to speak to this, because I'm going to give you a substitute motion to approve this project, because this is one of the biggest topics when you go to the apartments right there on California, when you talk to the community next to Ann Sherrill's Park, when you talk to the community that live on California. The kids were talking about how cool it would be to be able to place their banners up and down the street as we continue these improvements through the corridor and Baseline. So I'm going to make a motion to keep it as is. If you want to second it, let me know.
No, I will be seconding your motion. Thank you very much, Councilmember Ortiz. And no, I was going to comment on, thank you, staff, for being diligent and bringing this item forward. I know how long it took for us to come back. But overall, yes, we understand how long it took for it to come back. I think that given the circumstances of the area and the dire need for the beautification, I don't see why we wouldn't approve a project. I understand the reasoning for it, but I really wish this discussion or your concerns would have came to me beforehand, before today's meeting, before me finding out this very moment. I think we could have possibly had a very fruitful discussion and maybe seeing your opinions and discussing alternatives, but at this very moment in time, I don't. I want this item to continue forward.
All right, thank you. I want to remind the public to keep their comments at bay as we are discussing city business. We have a comment from Councilmember Ibarra.
Okay, and I just want to confirm the 1 million here that we're increasing here for this project. It's only those 3 blocks, and okay, 2.5 blocks, right? Since you're going north of Baseline. Just so that the public understands how expensive it is to fix the infrastructure in our city. We're talking about 1 million for 2.5 blocks of rehabbing. Is that correct, Mr. Hazam? And that's just for landscaping.
It's not only landscape, by the way. we're adding a median between 16th and Hanford, part of this project. That wasn't included on phase one. If you go to that location currently, you see a lot of donuts between 16th and Hanford. Donuts, a lot of people speeding through that area. And so this cost include additional median from 16th to Hanford, and the rest of it is purely landscape. Why is expensive? Because we're crossing University Parkway using specialized boring technique for conduits to go over 108-inch water line. So that added also to the additional cost part of this project.
Could there be something different that we can do that may be more cost-effective in that area besides a median? I mean, I've seen donuts being done throughout the whole city, not just that little section. I mean, I have areas in the Second Ward that people are constantly doing donuts, and we've had, police address it, and it's just too much work. Like, how do we control the traffic? There's stop signs that we have in the city that people are not obeying. Like on Gilbert and Paris Hill Road, we had that curve that was very dangerous. A lot of people were falling into that channel, and all we needed to do was put strips, and that would slow the traffic down. Is there something else that we can do that's more cost-effective? We're short on the money. I mean, we had those cuts not too long ago for the year. And, I'm over here, I asked a question to our city manager at one of our meetings recently. What's the turnaround if we report a broken street light, for example? Why is it taking our city too long to do? If we are focusing our money this much in one little section of the city, that could be the reason why we're not fixing our parks. We're not rehabbing those bathrooms, making them accessible to families. We're not replacing the broken street lights throughout the city. I mean, there's several bridges that I've seen already with no working lights at nighttime. I've reported them. There's lights at the parks that are not working at nighttime either. It's everywhere. And that was a question I posed for our city manager. Why does it take so long for our city to replace what we report as not working in our city? And I think $1 million for 2.5 blocks of a median, it's a bit steep for the situation that we're facing with our finances. So I just want to see if staff can look into other possibilities. I'll respect the statements from my colleague that represents that ward. I too will wait to see if there's anything else that our staff can come up with.
Let me just add a few things. Any modification to the existing plan will result in a huge delay because every inch of that landscape went through the Department of Water Resource approval. And it took those plans to get to the point where we are tonight, 1 year.
So where's the funding? The funding's coming from somebody, from who?
The funding for this one is coming from the Regional Circulation 264, part of which is a continuation of phase one.
But is that general fund money that we had
No.
approved?
No.
It's additional money from outside?
It's a Measure
Going into
I,
this.
part of the half-cent tax that we, SBCTA, collect and distribute to every city in the Inland Empire.
So you said Measure I?
Measure I.
And other funds?
Yes.
Once
No
again,
Measure I,
which is-
just Measure I.
Which is money that we can easily use to replace broken streetlights and other items, correct?
This one actually qualifies under the regional circulation with the two I mentioned because it included the 4 additional locations, Mount Vernon, which we completed the project, which is the regional circulation, and then you have H between 40th and Kendall, and then 40th and Electric. So we completed Mount Vernon, 3 projects left on the books. This one is a continuation of phase one to carry those funds forward to award the $1 million for the median landscape.
And that's what I want to confirm, that there was already allocated funds for this project along with those other 3 you listed.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick question for my own knowledge. I'm not very ingrained in construction and public works myself. For a project as such, just throughout the city, not just this particular location, with that amount of, 2.5 blocks, I think you said?
It's not in blocks because the only block that you have on University Parkway or previously state, as we stated, is only one block between 16th and Hanford. The rest of it is a straight shot. It has to be measured in linear feet.
So in that measurement of linear feet for what this project entails, just in comparison to other projects throughout the city, because this is about, what, $1 million for the size of this project, is that correct?
Correct.
Is that comparative to other projects throughout the city?
Actually, this project will be the first project that we're doing with landscape. For a long period of time, we haven't done any projects with this magnitude for landscaping.
So we've done other projects where we've done medians or landscaping on medians, though, is that correct?
Not within my time with the city. I've done projects with medians, with landscape. This is the first one I've done.
So we don't have anything to compare as far as cost analysis.
As far as cost analysis will be the engineer estimate that we have received throughout the design. And actually, this is a great bid because the engineer estimate were higher than the actual bid that we have received.
Were there any modifications to this design as this project went along?
No, there was no modification. It's just basically basic planting. The change in design for the original, there was a rock blanket.
I'm sorry?
Rock blanket within the median.
So there was an original plan?
Yeah, there was an original plan, there was a rock blanket. And based on direction from city manager's office at the time, I wasn't the city engineer at the time. Somebody carried this project, and I inherited the project and moved it forward to award, as you can see.
So I just want to clarify that. So there was a previous design. Was that design approved by the council?
Yes, the original construction for that project was approved by council, and there was the rock blanket at that location was also installed and then removed.
Okay, so that original approved design by the council that was just a complete different design, that was then changed at the city manager's behest, not the council's request?
I just followed instructions at the time and inherited that project from previous city manager, and that's where we are
Understand,
tonight.
so the
Yeah.
previous design that was council approved, was that $1 million?
No, the original design actually was for the entire median construction. If you recall, council, the roadway didn't exist. I just want to put that out there. The roadway south of Hanford did not exist. It was just dirt. So the project was awarded to Riverside Construction in the amount of $6.4 million to open the roadway so we can connect the baseline and then do the signal improvements at baseline and University Parkway.
But after that original design of that expansion, of that roadway of $6.4 million, where did it come from with the city manager then modifying and this increasing to $1 million?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, council? The original, yeah, go
So
ahead.
you just mentioned the original project was an expansion of a roadway
Correct.
for about we'll just say $6.4 million.
$6.4 million, yes.
$6.4
Yeah,
million.
yeah.
However, it did not include an additional $1 million for what is before us today. Is that correct?
That is correct. The funds that you have left in the account will take care of the landscape median only.
Okay.
And then that will expand the entire budget that we have allocated for University Parkway.
Okay. So I guess I'm trying to get clarity in regards to, this was not a council-approved request. This came from a city manager. You weren't in the seat at the time, so I guess we have no knowledge or no background as to why a city manager would then go to a department, put in a change order request outside of council direction, increasing a project to over $1 million. Is that correct? I just want to make sure I have that clear.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer that one. It's not within my response, I will defer that to Eric.
So I wasn't here, as you're well aware, but I think if I understand, because this was Measure I, that maybe there was a change in the design at the time, but then it had to go through a process to go back to SBCTA to get approval for funding for this project, didn't it?
No, because we have, let me just roll back a little bit, go back. The original funding for this project, which is part of Phase 1, is 9.7 million, okay? So the total for Phase 1, including right-of-way and plan design, is 8.4. So what's left in the account currently is 1,130,45 left in the account, which will take care of the landscape for tonight's award. So I'm not requesting, there was no additional request to SBCTA for the landscape.
What was left in the account, that million, whatever
Yeah.
number that you gave out, that was, those funds that were obtained can only be utilized for that one project?
They're sitting in the University Parkway improvement extension, yes.
So they can't be transferred to other needs throughout the city?
Very good possibility they could be transferred to other projects. I cannot say no, but yeah, they're sitting in the account, and that's, at least we're not using other funding for this project to provide the award for tonight.
So I just think for me, it's important to note, because there's been some comments that were made in regards to we can approve salaries. For me personally, I just want to make sure to, let the public know, comparing salaries in the broader scheme of infrastructure projects, when public safety is one of the most pressing issues in our city, is a very unfair comparison. We are sitting before us with an item that mysteriously changed from a previous city manager that I don't believe anyone on this council has any information, and staff doesn't even have information as to how we even got here. But here we are, so I believe that we have a motion and a second on the table. There's been a lot of discussion, so City Clerk, if you don't mind. Oh, I apologize. Councilmember Ibarra does have some comments or questions.
Staff, just so for reference, if you can look at the medians that we did fix in the past, I believe on electric along Mountain View was part of a project that we worked on. There's others that we've done. I know we were working on the one on Muscopiabi, and that one didn't happen, but if you want to look at other medians that we've worked on in the past, those would be some of my suggestions. I would like to, like I said, I would like to see what else staff can come up with, because that's a lot of money for a small portion, and there's a lot of infrastructure needs throughout the whole city that is not getting addressed, not even in a timely manner. I don't know what's the turnaround to fix a broken street light, making them work, especially when they're solar powered. So I just wanted to give you some suggestions of other meetings that we worked in the city.
And it would be nice if we can have a basis for us to not really have anything to compare. I mean, we have a city that's over 65 square miles. It's a pretty large city, a lot of infrastructure needs. And, if we can at least have a basis to say that we're going to spend over $1 million every time we need a median repaired, or I just think that's a bit extreme. I do agree with Councilmember Ibarra.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, I just want to clarify the motion. So the motion on the floor was a substitute motion by Councilmember Ortiz, second by Councilmember Flores, to approve the staff recommendation.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Councilmember Charette?
A comment. I agree with everything that's been said by my colleague, Ms. Canas, and Sanchez and Ibarra. And well, it was mentioned early, but it's been kind of glossed over, that this also requires ongoing maintenance of $60,000 a year. If I'm not mistaken, that was commented on. And we have talked, over and over and over again about drought-tolerant stuff and how we can minimize maintenance. I met with a group of people this morning up at the Wildwood Dog Park, and it is in very much disrepair. a lot of small things that need to be done. Now, I'm not saying we can get the money from the same project, but we've got to figure out a way to start being more efficient in the way we spend our money. Certainly, I'd love to, it's been said many times, let's pave the streets with gold and have all the trees and use all the water we need, but that's just not the reality of today. And I'm also suspect on the way this changed, on the way it went from one thing to now another that's not only costing us the initial cost, but the ongoing maintenance. So I won't be supporting the substitute motion.
All right, if we can please go ahead and cast our vote. Yes, go ahead.
Who was the city manager? No, who was the city manager? In what year? What year did this happen?
Yeah. Go ahead, Lynn.
I believe this was addressed, pardon me, I believe this was actually something that occurred during the tenure of Mr. McNeely.
Okay.
After Mr. Fields had left and he was the interim and prior to the hiring of Mr. Montoya.
So that was, what, 2 years ago?
Probably more like 3.5.
Okay, because for 3.5 years, which I guess tells me no one over here is driving on the west side of San Bernardino, this has been an eyesore. And when they pulled it out, I mean, this is not like some unknown quantity that has existed in our city. What's it gonna cost to put, if you put cement, right? So we'd have to revote to rechange if we were gonna change something other than re-cementing. What would the cost of re-cement be? Do you know?
We have to go through the process to go out to bids again, of course. We probably have to utilize the existing plans that we have from phase 1. And then I would say the cost would probably be in the range of $200,000.
So if we take the money and strip the 6th ward of this and leave, and I tell you guys, go drive by this thing, it's hideous, then we'll never fix it. And the 6th ward can continue to look like shambles. It can continue to be divested and segregated from any type of investment because it's the most uninvested ward in our city. So why would we do that? And why would we do that to any ward? Like, why would we take money that's allocated for your projects to go do something else in something else? That makes no sense to me, because you gotta fix it. Like, just leaving it the way it is doesn't make sense. It's, you know, don't those residents deserve something too? Like, did you put pictures in the backup material of what this looks like?
No, there's no
You should.
pictures.
Make
Yeah.
sure you send the council what this looks like, because other than myself and Mario, I don't think anybody understands, like, how ugly this is. And so if just because you're not advocating doesn't mean that we don't care. I mean, like, it's crazy to me. Like, this, not only mention the fact that this project sat on the books for 20 years, that getting off on this street is also a gateway to the city of San Bernardino coming off of the 210. So I think there's just a lot of inconsideration. And then, you know, to compare a raise for one person to public safety, that's not even close. Because this stuff, cleaning up blight, securing neighborhoods, lit streets, that all is part of public safety initiatives. And making the city look better helps improve the overall quality of life in the city. So before we just take $1 million, because I didn't hear anybody complaining when the city manager did this, if you weren't paying attention, that's not Mario's problem today, and that's not the 6th ward's problem today. The problem is that this median sucks. So how do we fix it? So I'll amend my motion to say, instead of approving this, bring this back, as Councilwoman Ibarra says, with options and what we can do, because you can't just leave it. Leaving it is such a, not even, to me, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So Mario, would you do that to see if we could bring this back with options?
I am amenable to that, but question for staff. So we had mentioned that It took about a year process
let me
for us
see.
to get through with these plans to get this up and running. Are we going to run into the same issue if we bring different options?
Yes, you're going to run through the same issue. It has to go through the approval process all over again with the Department of Water Resources. Also, I just want to make a correction, my apologies. The fund for this one is the Project Regional Circulation Fund. So you have two different funding sources. We have local, DIF, and then development impact fees, and then you have the regional. Measure I is actually the Kindle project, not this one, but it's local.
Well, there was a major mischaracterization. First of all, the project was completed. There were pavers and quarry rock in the median. The landscape was done, and then it was yanked out. The street looks good. The only issue is that it's bare because at the direction of the city manager at the time, all the landscaping was yanked out. The project was set to be, the project was completed. And then at the behest of someone, the city manager decided, no, we're going to completely redo the landscaping there. But it's a mischaracterization to say that it's blighted, that it's all torn up. It's an extension of the street. The only thing that it needs is to be filled in, just like the median that just went in on Second. Second and the 215 freeway, the front doorstep to our city has a median that's river rock in concrete. It's low maintenance, it's effective, it's safe, it's clean. Why are we doing something different here when throughout the entire city, for the last 8 years that I've been here, we put pavers or we put river rock down in the medians we build? This one was done differently after the job had already been completed. So yes, we do need to fill that in, and it's going to cost more because of an executive decision made by a city manager that's now gone and didn't mind, I'm not going to say it. Yeah, exactly. And so the issue now is we have to go back and we have to fill that in. We're going to have staff go out, spec the project for pavers and river rock, and have that put in. So that's I think, part of the motion that I mean, we could all probably vote on this unanimously. But moving forward, on a $1.1 million project like this with $60,000 annually in perpetuity is irresponsible, considering what we already had and the precedent we set on how we build out our medians. So rejecting this bid and directing staff to move forward with new, I don't know, whatever you have to do to bid out the landscaping for that median, or not the landscaping, but filling it in with pavers or river rock, whatever it is we do as a standard.
I'm going to have to ask the public once again to refrain from your comments. Councilmember Flores, I would like to give you an opportunity because I know you're intimately, this is your ward. Did you know that this project was completed and the project then was ripped up?
No, to my knowledge, the project was not completed. There was still the landscaping to be done.
All right, and for our staff, can you confirm, was the project in fact completed and then changed after?
Correct.
So I just want for everyone's clarity, the project was in fact completed, and because of whatever happened at that time, city manager then changed it. It was ripped up, and here we are now wanting to spend $1.1 million. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
It's Councilmember Charette.
And we've talked about the delays, but the delay, McNeely was here 3.5 years ago or so, and he's the one that made this decision, and we went through a year with Water Board or whatever, because this was going to be water and irrigated now and not just what it was originally, right? So to go back, to say that we're going to have to go back and go through the same process, that's not really true, is it? Because if we just go back and put it back the way it was when we tore it up after it was actually completed, and then we tore it up and changed directions, we're not going to have to go through the same process, are we?
You might, because your the original work was completed and the permit was issued under Phase 1. This is a separate permitting process for the landscape. So we
Permitting
gotta,
by who?
Department of Water Resources. You have a 108-inch water line feeding Southern California coming through University Parkway.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I might add, that water line is actually coming off of Devil's Canyon, and it's going down to Lake Matthews. It's a major water supply, and it happens to be underneath the roadway there. So any kind of construction, any kind of
Okay.
work.
Okay. Thank you. I think I understand that now. That's fine, and I understand that. So we might have to go through that again, which would be absolutely ludicrous. I mean, if they approved it once, and we tore it up, and then had to go get it approved to do what we're doing now, that we're now talking about not doing, I mean, a comedy of errors, and it has to do, I think, a lot with some decisions that were made that were not brought before the city council, and for whatever reasons, I don't know, but we're talking about 3.5 years ago, decisions that have made, and now here we are. I don't disagree. Why are we here 3 years later? This cannot continue for us to be a thriving city. And I'm not pointing my finger at any particular current staff, but we've got to change the way we do business in this town, and we've got to be consistent. And I'm not interested in pulling a nice project out of another ward. I think I've been consistent in my term here that I'm always supportive of other wards. But I'm also fiscally conservative, and I don't think we have been in a lot of these cases. And I can't support this just because of all of what's gone on. I want to see it go back to what it was.
All right, Public Works Director, please.
If I might make a suggestion, if we might recommend continuation of this item to allow us to contact Department of Water Resources to determine if we will have to go back through the process and bring that to you. The challenge really is that if you reject the bid tonight, then you are closing the door to any options or moving this thing forward. We would ask that in lieu of rejecting it tonight, that you go ahead and give us direction to continue the item, and we will go back to the Department of Water Resources, get you more information regarding some of the questions that have come up here. That'll allow the preservation of the bid process, and at that point, then we would recommend you could make the decision with more information.
I appreciate that, Lynn. I think that's a very amenable compromise. I think there's been a lot of revelations that have been brought forth to the council tonight that it's obvious that even the council member of that ward did not know. So if the council is amenable to our Public Works Director. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to continue. Do you want to do a voice vote? Okay, so we'll go ahead and do a voice vote. Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette? Yes. Councilmember Flores?
Yes.
Councilmember Ortiz?
Yes.
And for me, a yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much for that report and for all of the insight that you guys did provide as staff. We sincerely appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you for the suggestion, Lynn. We will move on to item number 10.
Mayor Pro Tem, I pulled that. Thank you. I caught this, and I didn't talk to the city manager before it. I brought it to his attention right just before we started. That's why I was late to the dais. This is 100% contingency. Most contingencies are 10%. It's $110,300 to do the job, and 109, almost 110% contingency. I've never heard of such a thing, never. And I'm anxious to hear this one.
I build a lot of contingencies on my CIP projects. This is one of them.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
This location is an old parking lot that would probably require additional contingency past the construction cost. So we don't have to come back to the city council. You're absolutely correct. That's 100% contingency that had been requested. But if the council desires to reduce it to more, between 15 to 20%, typical, we're willing to do that. But typically on construction projects, the way I've been doing it, within the funding that we have, we can request contingency amount to cover additional costs or additional improvements that will be required part of this project.
Well, I do understand contingencies, and I do understand that. I just don't understand, what are we going to dig up? I mean, what could, you go in there and they're going to dig the whole thing up and redo the whole parking lot?
Yes.
Or are they going to,
yes,
okay, it's not
yeah.
going to be a slurry, or it's not going to
No,
be a surface?
Yeah, the whole parking lot will be dug up. We're going to be installing lighting. We're going to be doing AD upgrades, entrances to the
And that's all
library.
included in the 110,000?
The original, the cost, yes, but once we start digging, we don't know what we're going to be encountering under the existing parking surface. Utilities, unknown, unforeseen conditions.
I understand the contingency, but in that area, that's a neighborhood, I can't imagine what's going to be under there. I cannot imagine what's going to stop us from digging it up and repaving it.
One of the big challenges I think you're going to see on that one is because of the age of the parking lot and the underlying conditions. While we are able to go and do a lot of geotechnic work on the library and on parking lots, we're not sure of what we're going to actually uncover in that parking lot to be able to cover it. So if the council's desire is to reduce the contingency down to 15%, we'll actually take that. But if we do run into any kind of unexpected conditions, that would mean we will come back and request additional funding if that's the way the council would like to do it.
All I can say to that is I understand all of that. Only I just disagree that we would have a double contingency, 100% contingency. I can't support that. So I'll make a motion that we do it with a 10% contingency. I mean, either that or talk to the contractors and just say, you know, I would have rather seen you come in here with a $200,000 bill and a 10% contingency, and then say, oh, guess what, council? We did it for $100,000, and we gave a bonus of 10% to the contractor for doing it way below cost and on time.
So we do have a motion as well as a second. It was seconded by Councilmember Ibarra. We have a comment or question from Councilmember Ortiz.
Yeah, thank you. No, I do agree with Councilmember Charette, just in that way, and I think what he said is correct. And because the way I feel about contingencies is just, it kind of is that open door. Like, hey, guess what? I know you said $100,000, but we on the table have another $100,000 for you. And so I understand not wanting to come back, but if it's supported as is, which is fine, I think though, giving us the report of what is coming up that is unforeseen, and that way it stays transparent and consistent with it, because I understand you're maneuvering, right? I don't want to keep coming back, but I think this gives an opportunity for people to be like, there's more money on the table for us, just in my opinion. So, but there was a second?
Okay. Yes, we do have a motion by Councilmember Charette and seconded by Councilmember Ibarra. Okay.
Just slightly. And I'll make it 15% in this case. Even that's high, I believe, but I'll make it 15% in this case because it's not a lot of money overall. But
I'll second.
But I think it's important that we look at this as a lesson and not just throw caution to the wind and say, oh, well, it might cost double, so let's just get 100% contingency. I can't ever support that.
We appreciate that direction, and we'll take that forward on all of our CIP projects. Again, I think if we have to come back to you, we will be specific in why we had to come back and what the issues were we identified.
Thank you very much. All right, so we do have a amended motion as well as a second. If we can go ahead and use our screens for voting, please.
Mine's not coming up.
Okay. Councilmember Charette, is your voting? Okay, okay. And Councilmember Ortiz?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. And moving on to item number 14.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just wanted to shout out this project. I think this is great. I know that this corner has been a problem with speeding, with crashes, with a lot of things, and so I'm just happy to see this come back and being able to way to mitigate traffic that'll be more effective for the residents around that area. So I just want to say thank you for staying with this and bringing this up, and especially because I know with ASA Charter at the bottom, we have kids going to school, we have kids crossing the street, and so this is a very important pivotal corridor for us. So that was it. I move to approve.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion, a second, if everyone could please.
Comment, because I also pulled this. I pulled it for the same reason. I assumed that this was for safety reasons. And that is just an absolute horrible street. I mean, it connects us over Little Mountain, and it is because of those turnouts and other issues that we've had there. So I support this idea. The one thing I think, Azam, you mentioned something about 8th Street even further to 40th Street. What did you say a minute ago regarding these medians?
Yeah, the one on H actually is one of the 4 locations on the regional SBCTA list to be included in future improvements.
Okay, but this one, if you look at the map, this one is from H Street over the hill and down to E Street.
Correct. It starts at H.
It starts at
going
8 and goes,
go
I'll
down
call
all
it
the way
what,
to the bottom.
east and south over the hill.
Correct.
And then are we going to do another one? Are we scheduled to do another one going west on that's 40th Street? That turns into 40th Street. 40th over to, or from H, what'd you say?
Okay,
H to 40th or something?
Okay.
They're
So
both,
let me roll back and say that the other 2 projects within the same area that are on the SBCTA regional, the funding for is H, 40th to Kendall, and then you have 40th from Electric past the fire station, and then we'll proceed west to Johnston, where we're gonna match existing, so it will be 2 lanes in each direction once those improvements are completed.
okay, well, that's not, we don't need to talk about that tonight, I guess, but are you aware, I'm sure you are, I hope you are, of what we're doing at Electric and 40th Street? What the plan is, and that we're trying to get property, and we've acquired property? We're going to widen that so that it goes across Electric and continues 4 lanes out to where it already is 4 lanes. We're going to put in a median before we do all that, and I think we're waiting on Edison.
That's absolutely correct.
Primarily?
We're waiting on Edison.
So we might be waiting for another 5 years?
I hope not, but also there is property acquisitions.
Acquisitions
we
of
have to
property,
go
so,
through, yes.
so that's why we're not talking about that median right now or very soon.
There is no, I have to go back and look at the plans, but that location doesn't have medians. On 40th from Johnston, which is west of Electric, past the fire station, there is no median.
Okay, well, that's not on the agenda, so
Correct.
we need to talk about that later, but because there's other things that has been talked about there at the intersection of 40th and Electric. Some fun things, some really popular things, I think, that turnabouts and things like that that have been talked about. So we won't talk about that tonight.
Okay.
But the last question I have on the median on E going in, did we consider the Hilltop restaurant, Hilltop Event Center, because this is going to make it difficult for their patrons, and I know that's not open all the time, but that's going to make it very difficult for them to get in and out. So has that, I see you smiling, Len. You must have a good answer.
We anticipated that question for the old Castaway restaurant, the Hilltopper. There is a turn lane right in front of the castaways there to allow the access to the driveways for I call it the castaways, I apologize, the Hilltopper for access in and out of it.
Both directions in and out.
In both directions.
So we're not really impacting.
No, you are not.
Oh, they're not going to have to drive around.
No,
Perfect.
we will
Thank
be
you.
able to have that access
Thank you.
at
Move
that
approval.
location.
Councilmember Ibarra has a question.
Yes, I have a deep concern with the median in this area, especially downhill. I do know that we've had in the past a lot of accidents. Installing a median, I feel like with the people driving the way they do it around that curve, is not going to be helpful for the city. And I would like to recommend if the city staff can possibly look into other options also on this project, especially around the curves going down south. Like I mentioned earlier, Gilbert, Paris Hill Park, when they install those strips, it has really helped slow down the traffic. I have not heard of any other accidents that have occurred since. I think that should be something that our city, if we want to provide something more safer for that curve, to look into instead of a median. I feel like people driving down at full speed the way they are currently out there, they're going to go over that median and cause more accidents. That is my concern, coming from an area that I had a deep curve and had a lot of incidents, and we know that curve itself has had a lot of incidents also. I don't feel the median will be safe in that specific area.
There is, on the bottom of the hill, when you approach the second curve, where the road, actually what we call super elevation, shifts the access of the roadway, we cannot put rumble strips or the box dots that were installed by Caltrans years ago, the white ones that
The
you see on.
bumps?
Yeah.
I thought those weren't allowed anymore.
They were not allowed anymore, correct. But the rumble strips, you have to take into account motorcycles. Motorcycles are prone to fall when they hit these rumble strips at an elevated roadway segment. To address your concern, Council, the median at that location is wider than the rest of the median along the Kendall curve. And also keep in mind, we will be addressing future speed reduction along the Kendall curve through the curvature. We have to do additional studies to make sure that the traffic follow the speed warning signs. Also, we have a speed feedback sign approaching that location that tells you your speed. So how much we can control the individual behaviors of individuals transitioning through that curve will be addressed through these different methodology of road diet.
Okay, but once again, if staff can look at other options, my concern is that there is going to be those vehicles that go down really fast on that curve, and they're going to go over that median. And I'm saying this publicly because I do not want to find out that there's been more accidents because of those medians along those curves. That's my concern. I want to see if staff can look at other options.
From traffic engineering perspective, we'll look at other options. Yes, definitely we will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns? No? So we do have a motion and a second, I believe. Okay, if everyone can go ahead and please cast their votes.
Motion passes 6-1 with Councilmember Ibarra voting in opposition.
All right, thank you. Moving on to discussion item number 15. The staff would like to go ahead and present.
Actually, I'd like to make a motion to move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you, council. Can we go ahead and call for, you can vote on your screens.
I do have a comment to make.
Oh, I apologize. Councilmember Ibarra.
There's nothing more, and this is for the public to know, that we want than to have that navigation center up and running. We've been working at this for over 3 years. It has not happened. On our end, as legislators, we have been approving the funding for this project, and there's nothing more that we want than to have it built. And I just want the public to know that. Why it's not being finished, that is something that our staff presented to us, that it is expected to be up and running by the end of this year. It has to be up by this year. So just wanted to put that out in the public. I know some community members were concerned that we haven't been able to build it. I know other communities have built their own centers, but ours, for some reason, has been delayed for over 3 years already. And if, negotiations that we do with those developers, let them know the urgency. We are in desperate need to have the navigation center going up. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Councilmember Ibarra. So we do have a motion and a second. Everyone, please cast their votes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. And moving on to discussion item number 16.
I'd like to make a motion to move to approve this one as well.
All right, we
I'll
have a
second.
motion, and we do have a second.
Comments?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
I think we would ask if you approve this motion that you do it with some contingency language in there.
I understand that there are some final provisions that were being negotiated between the attorneys. BBK's housing attorney has been negotiating that. So I would ask that you would approve it contingent upon legal approving the final form.
And then I amend to move to approve based on the contingents of the legal.
Okay.
Thank you.
We do have a comment from Councilmember Charette.
Yeah, I wish someone had talked to me about this one as well. First of all, I want to say publicly, Neighborhood Housing Services is a proven and a great organization. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. And I'm all about improving our housing stock and building it up. I'm not so much for ADUs, but I am about new homes. Before I say too much more, I have one question that was made a comment by the speaker from Neighborhood, and I don't know if she's still here, but someone can probably answer this. I think, if I got it right, she said renters to homeowners. Does that mean that these 19 units are going to be owned by the people in them, or are they going to be rentals?
It is for homeowners, so it would be for low to moderate income first-time home buyers.
They are first-time home buyers
Yeah.
going to be living in them.
Yes.
And I think that's great.
Here she
And
comes.
I'm supportive of it. So they're not rentals. They're not rentals. They're not somebody that's going to be able to come in and buy them up and then
No.
turn them into what we've seen throughout the city over the many, many, many years in the past.
Yes, so there will be homeowners, I believe.
There
Ms. Caitlin's
There
here.
are, I'll go ahead and make my comments, and then she can rebut or discuss or answer any questions or clarify anything that I have. There are 12 really, really nice two-story homes on both sides of that street in there. And I would like to know if in any way there was any kind of a survey done with those homeowners and if they know what is coming.
So community outreach has not yet been completed in that particular area. The plan that we have is based off of the density and the zoning, as well as making sure that, because it is for LMI, we have to have a level of density so that the price of the homes are not outpriced.
Did you say it has to be low density?
No, it has to be a higher density. So that
Higher density, right. And I think we're talking about 19 units in there, right?
That's what we're proposing. We know that sometimes through planning, that could decrease, but that's the maximum that we feel like we can do.
Okay, and I'm sure you know that at one end of the cul-de-sac is a really nice apartment building, and at the other end, on the south side of the street, is a kind of a fourplex. Those fourplexes are pretty pretty nice. And I think their parking is toward the rear.
It is, but with these being home ownership, we wanted to make sure that the sizing of them were going to be bigger. If we did single-family housing there, it would have to be smaller in order for us to get density, and the price that we will have to charge.
Right. It won't fly. It won't pencil.
It will not pencil.
If the density, if you were just going to build on those, what are there, five lots, I think?
It's three lots.
Well, there's 4 APN numbers, I think.
Yes, because I believe it's
The one with the apartment complex on it
on the
at the end of
corner,
the cul-de-sac?
it's 2. The one on the corner is
It's
2 lots.
2, and then 2 at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Correct.
So there's 5.
Yes,
There's
yes,
5 lots.
5 lots, but they're considered only 3 sites, I believe.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yes.
And again, my concern is just the other 12 families that live in there and how they're going to feel about this.
Completely understand. And so our plan is to make sure that the design elements will fit and flood completely in with the current design. I believe it's like a Spanish-style design of those homes.
More or less, yeah.
Yes.
Tile roofs but the one fourplex at the west end is not.
It is not. You're correct.
And nor is the other one at the other end.
Correct, but we want to make sure that because these are the last 3 spaces in that particular cul-de-sac, we want to make sure that we're filling it in, and the way that we plan to fill it in, we'll hope to upgrade the whole entire cul-de-sac.
And there will be, in the plan, and I know you're just talking about right now, exclusive negotiating rights.
Correct.
In the plan, there will be a consideration for parking so that we're not all over the street. And
absolutely.
There are a number of apartments and multifamily in that general area and on that street.
Correct.
So I'm not completely opposed to it, but 19 to me right now sounds a little high.
Okay.
And we might be able to work that down to maybe 3 or 4 of those 4-unit projects.
So one of the components that we did have, because I believe we can go up 3 levels. So instead of having floor levels on all sides, we raised one of the sides so that you can have undercover covered parking, and it's within the community. So we want to make it as smaller communities where there's parking. There's no street parking that would be extra for them, but we do have a parking component for every unit that we are building.
Okay, well, I came in with not sure how I was going to vote on this.
Okay.
And I've done that over my career, and I've made decisions at the dais. And I'm going to support you going forward with this, but as the council member there, for at least 1 more year,
Okay.
I'd like to be involved in any discussions that you have, or at least kept up to speed on it. And give you some of my maybe thoughts or concerns, and certainly we want to reach out to those other 12 families.
That is part
and
of
get their input.
Absolutely. That's part of what this process will be. During that ENA process, we'll be reaching out, and I'll make sure that our offices talk to each other, and I can share the whole conceptual package with you.
Okay, and I'll help as much as I can as well. I
Grateful
don't
for that.
intend on being a hindrance, but I also will be honest with my thoughts.
I would like to say we have a contingency approval of down payment assistance right now in the 6 figures for these units. So it's going to make it really affordable for those particular families I spoke about.
Are you anxious to talk? You look like you are.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we clarify, this is not approval of the project or disposition of the land. That would have been in the presentation that Esther was going to provide.
I didn't give you a chance to make your presentation.
Yeah, this is just to approve the exclusive right to negotiate with NHSIE, and then we're going to do the feasibility study. Part of the components that we're requesting are the market study, and then, of course, the analysis to ensure long-term feasibility and viability.
Okay, very good.
So we would come back to council once we're at that point.
Very good. I feel much better about that tonight, about this project, and I appreciate your input. I talked with Gabriel Elliott about this earlier today. you gave us way too much in the backup. You listed 4 or 5 parcel numbers, and then I think you listed every APN number in the city, and pictures of all of them, too. So we're using ink and paper to do that. You could probably have cut it down to just those 5 or 6 APN numbers.
Just a quick question to Councilmember Charette's point. I think that these are, being owner-occupied units is excellent. Increasing home ownership in our city is always a positive. I did have a question, though, regarding just being that this is affordable housing. I honestly don't know how this works with the funding and everything that's received. Are there any covenants or deed restrictions that do not allow for these units to eventually be renter-occupied units? Do they just in perpetuity have to remain as owner-occupied?
I can speak to that if you would like. Based off of how we sell our homes, and we use state down payment assistance, and so because we use down payment assistance to be able to purchase the homes, we do an annual review of making sure that the owner is still in the home. And I have my loan processor here to speak to that. But that's how we can ensure that they remain owner occupied during the period of time before they sell. And then our intention in development is to put a deed restriction where NHSIE has the first right of refusal before they sell it, so we can buy it back, or we can partner them with a LMI home buyer in our pipeline to be able to support to resell that home.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that.
No problem.
Councilmember Ortiz had a question?
Yeah, and Mayor Pro Tem hit on that. I think that's great, because being able to, like, and Councilman Charette hits the point, is we do watch a lot of investors come in, buy up. I've been extremely disappointed in the 6th Ward, and I think maybe the 3rd, where they were going to come in and build a community, and then it was going to be for sale. Everybody went through first-time home buyer classes, and then they were like, no, we're going to make it $3,500, and you all can have 5 families in here and figure out how to rent it. So I'm really appreciate, and plus, you know, this has been 3 years in the making for you guys, and I remember when it first started rolling, and so it's great to see these things finally moving forward. So just thank you so much, and appreciate you staying in it with us. I know it's not always easy, but, you know, in the long run, our partnerships are everything, so thank you.
Thank you, and I just like to thank the housing team. They've been really supportive during this process. NHSIE is a HUD-approved housing counseling agency and a CDFI, and so our mission is to support 80% and below, so it's in our mission, so thank you so much for the time.
All right, and Councilmember Ibarra?
Ms. Kaylin, don't leave yet. Just a little bit of history on the tremendous efforts NHSIE does in our community. When I first got introduced to them, we went in the Muscopiabe neighborhood. We knocked on doors to help homeowners have a security door installed at no cost to those homeowners. I was also on the verge of almost losing my home before I became a council member. NHSIE helped me save it through the state of California. And yes, I had to prove that I was still living in my home for a specific amount of time, and then that got forgiven. I was with them when Wells Fargo gave a huge lump sum towards down payment assistance, and yes, they do encourage home ownership. And before I left their agency, we got to help renters during COVID time to stay in their homes with rental assistance. And then Kaylin came on board, and I'm glad that you're there. I still see my fellow coworkers still here. Thank you for all the work that you do. We are a small team at NHSIE, but they are mighty. The work that they do, they go to Washington, D.C., and they advocate for home ownership and to help people stay in their homes. So I applaud all the work that you're doing. It's a big feat, but I'm excited to see this. You see the gentleman that's standing in the back? That's Mr. Al Palazzo. I'm pretty sure he would be very happy to hear about townhomes. He gave me a tour a couple of years ago throughout the whole central region, and he showed me what different cities are doing, and I've been waiting for townhomes in this city, like something different. And so thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you, NHSIE.
Appreciate you.
I know
Thank
Maria's
you.
going to do a great job with the loans.
All right, thank you. So has everyone cast their vote? Okay.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, council.
So I do think that concludes all agenda items. Thank you very much. So we will go ahead and move on. It is now 8:25 in accordance with Resolution 2024. Sorry, we are not wanting to extend the meetings. So we will move on to our mayor and city council updates. We will go ahead and just go from left to right. We'll start with Councilmember Ibarra.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I want to thank everybody in the community. Oh, the public's left. I want to thank the community for the prayers. I've had some really rough months. The end of 2025, I'm back in good health now. My mom is doing better, so there's two of us that were having health issues at home. So thank you to everybody who was patient. I'm back, and I have been going to some of the meetings. I know somebody had made a comment about the Central Valley Regional Board meeting that we just had a couple weeks ago. And as one of the representatives for our city, when I go to these, just know that when I go into these meetings, I want to make sure that the people who need the help are being served. I have been very vocal, and it's taken a while, but I'm glad to see that other cities are jumping on with building shelters too. I've said it many, many times, homelessness does not just affect Victorville or San Bernardino cities. It affects everybody all over, whether it's a one night that a family member or a week that they need shelter for. We need to have a place for them to go to in those situations. So I was very glad to see how several cities are coming on board with building shelter because, again, it's not just our city that has homelessness. It's everyone. And then tomorrow, I'll be up bright and early doing the point-in-time count. I think this is my third or fourth year doing it. 5 a.m., I'll be there in, I think, 30, 40-degree weather. As long as there's no rain. I know we had rain the past 2 years before that. So it's good to be out there and tell people that there is help for them. Our team, our San Bernardino team has grown since, and if anybody out there asks for help, we do give them referrals, and we try to get them into housing. So I applaud all our housing division for the work that you're doing. And yeah, that's where I'll be tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councilmember Ibarra, and we are all very happy to hear that you are in better health. We've been praying for you. You add a perspective to this council, and it is such a pleasure working with you, so thank you. Councilmember Sanchez?
Councilmember Canas, I want to congratulate you on running your first council meeting. You did spectacular. And you are a great example of someone that is a leader, not because of your title, but because of the quality of your character. You are a natural leader. People naturally gravitate towards you. And I felt a very jovial feel. I mean, we were discussing a lot of important issues at today's meeting, but there was a sense of calm and a sense of mutual respect throughout with you and all my colleagues. So that was pleasant, and just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Sanchez. All right, Councilmember Ortiz?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So welcome back. Happy New Year again to everybody. We've had some really great stuff kick off since our start of the year. So I was able to attend the Unity Way and our Paths Foundation's ribbon cutting, which are both associated with connecting with families and children for like behavioral health and wellness, so that was wonderful. I got to attend the All About the Children Day hosted by the Maggie Foundation in honor of Dr. Hill, which was just another awesome activity to see resources being given to the community and our kids. Attended the MLK Black Chamber of Commerce Gala Award Ceremony, so congratulations to all the recipients. It was a really great time, and thank you for all of your continued community service. And attended the MLK Parade. I know Councilman Flores and I did this last year, but it's always super cool to be able to ride in it. The community came out. There were over 1,000 students from San Bernardino Unified in the bands, the cheer squads, everything. And so I love that the organizers were so well put together, and just what we do best, right, is come out and show out. So other than that point in time count tomorrow morning, for any of you that want to get up early and go do that, I've been doing it for the last 5 years. So, but I think to those who pointed out, true, that our team is touching far more than the count is counting. And so I appreciate our efforts, and really to know that our number really starts at 4,500 and not probably at 15 or 2,000, which is being recorded. And so I think that I appreciate everybody in their endeavors. And that's it, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Ortiz. No comments from, okay. Councilmember Flores.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Saturday 17th, I was able to attend the All About the Children's Day over on the eastern end of San Bernardino. It was great to see all the partners come out and just support a great cause and just see the families out enjoying a great day. Monday the 19th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I attended the 40th Annual Prayer Breakfast. It's starting to become one of my favorite events to go to, just the ambiance and the sense of community. It is great to see. And jumped over straight to the 6th Annual MLK Parade. It's always great to see the community in our downtown area and just how it's filled with joy in the participation of our school district. And I got to hang out with Martin Luther King Middle School cheerleading girls right in front of them, and got to talk and joke around. So great day. Yesterday, Tuesday the 20th, I was able to provide updates at the Kiwanis of Greater San Bernardino over at Chili's, some updates going on in the 6th Ward on the western side. And I also attended our first back Coffee with the Cop with our Western District Lieutenant, Cheveria. And great to see community out participating and just letting us know what's going on. For future, tomorrow I'll be at the point in time count. And on Sunday the 25th, there's going to be a blood drive at the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church in the 6th Ward. So if anyone is interested in donating some blood for some good cause, I'll see you there. And that's about it. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilmember Charette.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. First of all, Happy New Year to everybody. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus since Christmas, and those crazy holidays falling on Wednesdays and Thursdays really seem like it's been forever since we've been here, and then not having the first meeting in January. But anyway, wishing everybody a Happy New Year and looking forward to working with everybody and making this a great New Year. Yesterday, I attended Coffee with a Cop. As usual, our Eastern District had over 65 people, I think 65 or 70 people there. Junior Carrillo does a great job with Lieutenant Luna getting people out, and it's always a very, very good. Our chief stopped by and spoke for about 45 minutes to the group, and was very informative. It was a great meeting yesterday, and those are always open to anybody that wants to join us. And then last night, on the same side of town, up in the northeast area, Belvedere Neighborhood Association, I attended that and was happy to do so. And there's a lot of things coming up. I don't have them to list tonight, but I have a special announcement that I'm really, really thrilled and proud to make. My daughter-in-law, Casey Akins, was promoted to Command Chief Warrant Officer of the State of Nevada National Guard. Casey's been in the Army. She's a helicopter pilot and a fixed-wing pilot. She achieved the rank of Warrant Officer 5, which is as high as you can go as a warrant officer, and was just this past week promoted to the top Command Chief Warrant Officer of the entire state of Nevada. So I'm extremely proud of her. She's been in the Army since 2002. She will have to stay an extra couple of years because of this promotion, but she's excited about taking on the responsibility, and I couldn't be prouder of her. So I just wanted to announce that publicly about her great accomplishment, about as high as you can go as a warrant officer in the Army. So thank you, and that's all I have.
Well, congratulations to Casey. I will spare everyone the details of my event whereabouts, and I just want to say thank you to all of our staff. I know that we do have some challenging issues and items that would come before us as a council, but I do think, for the most part, collectively, we remain committed as Team San Bernardino in moving our city forward, which is what's most important. So I do want to thank everyone, and I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. The next joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council, and Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, and the Mayor and City Council acting as a San Bernardino City Housing Authority, and Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino acting as a San Bernardino Joint Powers Finance Authority, will adjourn to the regular meeting to be held on February 4th, 2026 at the Feldham Central Library located at 555 West 6th Street, San Bernardino, California, 92410. Closed session will begin at 4 p.m. and open session will begin at 5 p.m. Thank you very much. The meeting is now adjourned at 8:36 p.m.